future court would want to rely on or cite as authority what this court did. Now, no matter what they do with the Colorado case and the Maine case, somebody is going to say it's political. It'd be nearly impossible to come down with a standard that is perfectly neutral, but they'll try. I mean, and the way to do that is to interpret the 14th Amendment in the eyes of a 2024 jurist, which is somebody that engaged in a rebellion is disqualified from running for any federal office. But the standard for reaching that conclusion must involve the modern notion of due process. Stated differently, this can't be some clerk in the capital of Maine talking to people that did research for her. This has to be a real trial in a real courtroom with real cross-examination and real witnesses and real demonstrations of proof before you can tarnish someone with the brush of insurrectionist so as to remove their qualifications for the presidency. They have to come down with these standards in a very, very neutral, historically accurate way, but yet sensitive to the niceties of due process. Excuse me. I say historically accurate, but sensitive to due process. Historically, there was no due process. So a clerk in New Jersey, seeing that somebody wants to run for Congress, says, we all saw him in a Confederate uniform 2 years ago. He doesn't qualify. I'm not going to put his name on the ballot. That was the end of it. No challenge, no trial, no proof. But that was then, and this is now. And now, after the refinement of due process, the idea of fairness in the 20th century, we are in the 21st century where we really don't allow the government to deprive someone of life, liberty, or property. Here it's liberty, of course, without this kind of due process. Now, did that happen in Colorado? There was a trial in Colorado in which Trump's lawyers participated. Did it happen in Maine? Not yet. There probably will be a trial in Maine. This is just the most preliminary of determinations by a clerk. She is the Secretary of State, but she's acting in a clerical capacity here, whose word is not the final word in that state.
Well, and again, folks, talking to Judge Andrew Napolitano. How many years were you on the high court there in New Jersey?
Well, I was on the trial court in New Jersey for 8 years, which is a lifetime appointment. So you're appointed for 7 years, appointed by the governor, confirmed by the Senate for 7. If reappointed and reconfirmed before the end of 7, you have it for life. They obviously didn't serve my full term because I am still alive and no longer on the court.
Well, that's good to know. You could have fooled me if you were dead. So,
with not AI.
No, but with recusals, I'm like recently. I'll play a clip later in the show for the audience of Jamie Raskin saying Clarence Thomas should recuse himself. When you hear recusals come from, calls for it from the outside, is it often just partisan BS, or is there something to this idea, especially Clarence Thomas being in everybody's sights?
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Congressman Raskin, but my respect is as being part of the small community that I was a part of when I was a constitutional law professor, and he was. There's only about 250 of us in the country who taught in law schools and specialized in and were recognized as experts in the Constitution. And now Congressman, then Professor Raskin was one of them. So that's the Jamie Raskin that I know. The current Jamie Raskin is obviously colored by the politics of his party. So if you were to ask me if this will motivate Justice Thomas to recuse himself, absolutely not.
Right.
If you were to ask me, would the fact that a justice's wife is involved in the politics generally associated with one of the two sides in this dispute, is that enough for him to recuse himself? Absolutely not. But do I blame Jamie for saying this? I don't. I understand how the politics works.
These are the times we live in. And by the way, we used your op-ed, your office pool last week to kind of do our own guesses. It was fantastic stuff. I kept saying, though, for most of them, D, all the, none of the above. because I think we're all going to be dead. Now, I don't wish this. I hope
Ooh.
I'm very much wrong, but I don't think we get to 25. I think, I'm not a Baptist by any means, but I'm not
You
saying.
will like my column this week, which you'll have in a few hours. It's called Nikki Haley, American History and Intellectual Honesty.
Ooh, amen. Well, let me ask you something. I don't mean to be a plant here, but what was the cause of the Civil War, Judge?
The cause of the Civil War was the determination by the federal government that the states could not leave the Union, and the seizure by the federal government of all the tariffs at all those ports from Baltimore to Houston. And the same Congress that enacted the 13th Amendment 8 months after the war was over, 3 months before the war started, enacted the Corwin Amendment, which was never ratified but passed the same Congress, and would have enshrined slavery in the Constitution. So the victors rewrote history, as they almost always do.
Indeed, they do. I find those conversations, like, are we really trying to whittle down a complex historical event that really developed over decades to a singular cause? I guess you could say slavery was the big dividing thing, but that's not what's motivating these elites that run the respective governments at that time.
Well, if you read the letters that the Union soldiers sent home, they don't mention slavery. They mention killing Southerners so they can get home. So the war will be over and they get home. Killing fellow Americans so they can get home.
Well,
First war in history in which the government targeted civilians.
Now I want to jump from the controversies of the Civil War to controversies of, let's say, modesty versus, say, sexuality or exhibitionism. Like, there's this online debate that seems to be...
No idea where you're going with this, Joey.
I'll put it this way. There's a lot of folks that are going back to more traditional ways, but sometimes the way they present themselves on Twitter, they're looking for constant scalps to say this girl is dressing too provocatively. Or I'll put it in simpler terms, and this is where I'm getting to, that porn should be banned. Now, why does the First Amendment, basic legal question, why does the First Amendment, as we understand it, cover things like pornography?
Well, because it's expression, it's speech. You know, it's a limited, provocative type of expression. But once the government gets in the business of censoring speech, there'll be no end to what it will censor, and all the censoring will be done for political reasons. If the left is in charge, they'll let all the porn in they want. If the right is in charge, whether they believe this or not, or they just want to create the image of being a proper Judeo-Christian people, they'll suppress the porn. And suppressing it's not going to get rid of it. It'll just keep it underground.
Right.
So the modern iteration of the First Amendment is to protect all speech, even provocative speech, even hate speech, even disgusting speech. If you don't like it, don't listen to it.
Well, and then you get into those weird lines of what is porn, when do you cross that threshold? And it seems to me, whether you're talking about hardcore traditionalists on the right or the wokest of the woke on the left, they have no limiting principle. I guess ours would be something like the properly formed conscience of the individual.
Well, the properly formed conscience of the individual is what gets you into heaven. But you don't need a properly formed conscience in order to buy a piece of pornography or to download it, I guess is the way people get it today, and look at it. You have the freedom to do that. The government is not in the business of touching consciences. And as long as no innocent third party is harmed by it, you can examine what you want. You know, there's a couple of funny one-liners. This is a little risque, but I'll repeat it anyway.
Sure.
And this is a true statement of two Supreme Court justices in the 60s. I believe it was William O. Douglas and Potter Stewart saying, how do you define porn? And Stewart says, I know it when I see it. I can't define it, but I know it when I see it. Douglas says, I know it when I feel it. So Douglas, who used to patronize a den of ill repute 2 blocks from the Supreme Court courthouse, I guess knew what he was talking about.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and it just, I've seen these fights pop up more and more, and I'm like, can we just go with liberty? Not with, and because I wanted to ask you, because I'll see these very Catholic traditionalists say, well, natural law would never allow for something like porn, but again, it's like, you empowering the government to infringe on people's freedom and conscience, even if the conscience is choosing wrong things, it's not properly formed. That in itself seems to be a violation of natural law. You're taking somebody's responsibility away from them.
Well, taking away a natural right when the person hasn't surrendered it. So if I rob a bank, I give up my natural right of freedom of travel because I have taken the property of somebody else. I've violated their natural right, so I can be prosecuted and incarcerated. But watching something in the privacy of my home, I haven't violated anybody's rights, and therefore mine can't be violated. All of this stems from the belief that our rights come from our humanity. No matter where our mothers were when we were born, no matter what the color of our skin, no matter our intellect, no matter our income, and just as important, no matter what the government says.
Well, and
I've been asked to give a lecture, which I'm giving on March 7th of this year. It is the 750th anniversary of the death of St. Thomas Aquinas, and I'm giving the lecture at the Angelicum in the Vatican on the use, abuse, and failure to use natural law principles in American constitutional jurisprudence.
Wow, man, to be a fly on that wall, or at least have a seat in the audience. Now, before I let you go, what do you have coming up this week on judging freedom? Imagine
I have had almost a full week already, right, even though we just started today. So I had Alistair Crook at 8 o'clock. I had Ray McGovern at 9. At 11, I had Scott Ritter live from Moscow with a Moscow banker, financier, land developer talking about how the war is perceived and how Putin is perceived by the Moscow people. We just finished Professor Jeffrey Sachs. We have Matthew Ho, Karen Kwiatkowski, and the inimitable Larry Johnson coming up later today. Colonel McGregor returns tomorrow after a 2-week Christmas break. So it's a busy, happy week for us.
Yeah, I watched some of that Ritter interview as I was getting ready, and it's great stuff. I mean, you got to go through the translations, but that's a bizarre setting, but also, I guess, right there in the heart of everything, and a really good interview, sir.
I thought the translator did a pretty good job.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just I'm so used to the quick wit of English, if I can claim that at all. Well, I always appreciate your time, Judge, and again, Happy New Year, and until next week, thank you, sir.
You got it, my man. All the best to you. Tell Nick Saban, lick his wounds.
Thank you, Judge. Again, that's Judge Andrew Napolitano. Always fantastic having him on the program. Before we hit this break, this part of the program brought to you by Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group. And there at the Goodson Group, Bo and his team are ready to help you, whether you're looking to buy or sell a home here in the River Region real estate market. But not only buying and selling, they can help you manage your property if you want to rent out your home. It's a fantastic idea in this market to convert a home that you own into a rental investment. But let's be honest, managing a rental yourself, being the landlord, can be a pain in the butt, especially if you don't have any experience with getting tenants, managing all the little problems that might pop up during a lease. Why not, for a reasonable fee, have the Goodson Group do that for you? And of course, the crown jewel there at the Bo Goodson Group is, well, the Bo Goodson Real Estate School. It's one of the most highly acclaimed real estate programs in the state. Well, because of all the success people have gone through the course have found, whether it's fully licensed realtors or it's more knowledgeable public players, a lot of people have graduated from Bo's Real Estate School and found that success very quickly because he's teaching folks from his 40-plus years of experience. He's been through it all here in the River Region real estate market, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You can learn all those lessons from Bo Goodson himself. So check him out today. You can always go to thegoodsongroup.com or give him a call at 551-0225. That's 551-0225. Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group. Great sponsor here of News and Views in the afternoon. Going to hit a quick break here. I think Eddie is taking the day off today, but he should be back tomorrow. But y'all stay tuned. And if you want to get in, 272-9228. We'll be right back after this.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. With PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
To avoid digital threats, turn on NordVPN. It's trusted by millions of users. Just visit NordVPN.com. One of the fastest VPNs on Earth will block web trackers, malicious websites, and malware-ridden downloads. It will also encrypt your internet traffic while maintaining a smooth connection. So improve your digital privacy and protection against hackers with one simple click. Get the special deal at NordVPN.com and enjoy safer internet daily. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
Oh, not this song again.
Hello, Sarah. Real quick, if you had to choose, would you listen to elevator music all day or deal with payroll compliance?
Oh, payroll compliance for sure.
Wait, really?
Staying compliant is so much easier with Gusto. Gusto automatically calculates my taxes and files with all the right agencies for me.
That actually sounds great.
Hold up. Can Gusto help my small business with compliance too?
Of course they can.
Choose payroll compliance without the ups and downs. Visit gusto.com/radio to sign up for free.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
We get Montgomery talking 24 hours a day. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. 272-9228. Now, plenty to get to today. In particular, there's a lot of craziness going on around the supposed Jeffrey Epstein release. And a lot of people kind of chomping at the bit to see these names. Even Fox News was covering all the times Bill Clinton was on the Lolita Express. And there's an interesting story out of the Post-Millennial today from Jeffrey Epstein's brother. Now, Epstein's brother is saying that, the records, health records, prison health records, on the day of Epstein's death, this brother was told by staff there at the prison that these records don't exist. So, folks, it's been revealed that Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mark, attempted to obtain documentation from the night that the convicted criminal didn't kill himself, but was told by government employees that the records he sought did not exist. They just deleted them by accident. I'm sure it was just a data farming problem or something. Just maintenance went down. But one of the most important documents, the report written by the emergency medical services team that moved Epstein's body out of his cell at the Manhattan jail, was nowhere to be found on the computer system. Well, isn't that convenient? So convenient. Footage of Mark's interaction with the government employee was posted on X by Tucker Carlson. As of right now, you're telling me you can't find the pre-hospital care report. Not for the 10th of August, 2019, no, the employee replied to Epstein's brother. It's not in the fire department database. I don't know why. According to the New York Department of Health, Bureau of Emergency Services, a PCR document includes information such as the documentation of the event or incident, the medical condition, treatment provided, and the patient's medical history. When Mark Epstein pressed him further, he suggested that Epstein may have been taken directly to the morgue. Mark shot that claim down right away, noting that he had photos of his brother in the hospital. When the employee brought up the evidence Mark had, his supervisor pointed out that a photo doesn't generate documentation, and that the fact that fire department personnel were there doesn't mean a report was written. They told me they did, Epstein's brother fired back, raising his voice. I spoke to them, and they were the ones that suggested I get this report. Since I heard that with my own ears, I believe them, and I don't know why someone played with the computer and it's not there. Now, Epstein's brother has long been critical of the official narrative surrounding his brother's death, telling Business Insider last year there's a lot of really blatant bullshit stuff that, well, here. Mark Epstein has maintained that Jeffrey was killed that night at the Metropolitan Correctional Center, suggesting the injuries he found resembled a homicide, not a suicide. Wow. So we'll see this list of names, though some folks are saying don't get too excited. We've already figured out who most of these names are, but there might be some new information coming out. Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, Joey. Happy New Year to you, buddy.
Happy New Year. How you doing?
Good, good. I guess you know this is Red Top.
Yes.
But yesterday, or I guess day before yesterday, on one of the Sunday shows, they had Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Mm-hmm.
on. He admitted to being on the plane with his family at one time.
Yep.
And so whoever this lady is who's about to release, isn't it like 150 names or something like that? Who is that lady? You know who I'm talking about?
No, it was the case with Ghislaine Maxwell. It's the names that were presented in evidence, I think, throughout that case.
That's right. That's right. And, oh, gosh, this stuff on Prince Edward in England, Lord have mercy, what a scumbag.
Yeah, and I don't think everybody who met with Epstein, even everybody who flew on the plane, necessarily did something wrong. But it's like Clinton flew how many times with him? Like, there is something where you're constantly working with them that makes you a little more suspicious in my mind.
How many times did Clinton fly, did they say?
I think there are definitely 4, 5, 6 times that are very well documented, but I think it's something like 20 is where he's on the manifest.
Yeah. That probably sounds more likely. I do believe Donald Trump has even been on that plane.
Yeah. I think Trump's met with him at least.
Yeah. So, God, I mean, this guy had clout, and you know.
I think he was a construct. He was a creation of an intelligence agency of some type to present himself as a technologist and as a financier. And there are a lot of folks that have come out who met with him once, got the creeps, said this guy. For instance, Eric Weinstein. He's the managing partner there, Teal Capital, said this guy didn't really know finance, and Weinstein's also a astrophysicist, so like he didn't know his science either. So he said Epstein is clearly a front man for something, and it was, I think, compromising very powerful people.
Oh yeah, and deep state, most likely trying to grab hold of both sides. And everybody the deep state can grab hold of it.
And I suspect it's a lot
of damn people.
And I suspect it's an old play that as soon as the internet really started to get going, they couldn't hide what Jeffrey was up to.
Yeah. Well, they managed to hide being exposed, just like Supreme Court documents. We never found out who the leaks were, and dozens of other cases where there's never going to be any information released. Damn sure on the libertarian side, Joey, we don't have much to work with, do we? When is the Libertarian Convention that you're hosting?
I believe it's the first couple days of February. And, I'll be hosting that debate on, I believe, a Saturday night. And look forward to doing that. And we'll start writing questions.
Is it in Birmingham?
Outside of Birmingham, I believe.
Wow. Is that going to be broadcast in any form of fashion live, or are we going to have to?
I don't know.
Do you know?
I don't know
Okay.
yet.
All right. Well, I'll be looking forward to that, bud. Have a good day. It's nice and cold. I'm outside getting me some vitamin D with many layers on. So I look like the Michelin Man today. Roll Tide, go Trump. See you, bud.
See, yeah, with that low body fat percentage, you better wrap up. You probably don't like these winter months. But yeah, the Epstein story still has legs. And for many folks, it was their red pill moment. But others have different red pill moments. In fact, there are many types of ways the red pill can be delivered. By the way, you take one, not the whole damn bottle. If you're sitting here saying that, the Pope's actually been captured and all these people up there in D.C. are actually just reptilian replacements to lookalikes. See, none of them are actually running things. They're just lookalikes. People are wearing the George W. Bush's skin when he goes out in public. Stop it. Stop it. Calm down. You ate the whole damn bottle of red pills. You should have just taken one. Now, a little bit of skepticism, though, can go a long way. And one guy, I think, who is red pilling folks, I think it's appropriate to say, is Dave Chappelle. And he does so by, giving people permission to laugh at, so much. Laugh at the things that, the circles that matter. Prim and proper society say, you shouldn't laugh at that. Well, his new special is out on Netflix. I watched it this morning, actually. It's not like the greatest special he's ever done, but I really love that it's an homage to Norm Macdonald. He mentions Norm by name. He does a lot of that sort of Norm meandering style. Dave in his own right is an amazing storyteller. But he makes some jokes about, all sorts of folks from, everybody, pretty much. But here, like clockwork, are all the headlines about Dave Chappelle's special. It's almost like they're organized, or, they don't have to meet. They just know where their bread is buttered. A confluence of interest, if you will. But USA Today put it out there. Dave Chappelle's The Dreamer, that's the name of the special. Dave Chappelle's The Dreamer jokes about trans disabled people. When you put it that way, it ain't funny, but that's what you get by writing up comedy in such a serious, literal way. Dave Chappelle targets trans community, disabled people in The Dreamer, says Deadline. Variety writes, Dave Chappelle's obsession with mocking trans people continues. Business Insider, that rag, says Dave Chappelle targets trans and disabled people in his new Netflix special. In The Hollywood Reporter, Dave Chappelle returns in Netflix The Dreamer. Quote, I love punching down. He's doing this. He made all those jokes just for y'all. All you editors, all you prim and proper folks, he made those jokes for you. You know what? They're pretty damn funny. Especially the irony-laden idea of, I love punching down. I think he says something, I'm not hitting trans folks, I'm hitting handicapped folks. Make y'all sit in the back. Like, he's doing this on purpose, and of course, the dum-dums are going to take everything a comedian says seriously. But why do they take it seriously? There is a method to their madness, is that if they're worried, there's somebody who turns on Netflix on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day or the morning of January the 2nd, like I did, they're going to watch the Chappelle special, and they're going to learn, it's okay to make jokes about everybody. It's okay to make jokes about sacred cows. Man, thank you, Dave. I don't feel as uptight about this. I was able to remove the stick from my butt after laughing involuntarily, because that's the best laughter. You can't really control it. You laugh at what you laugh at often. You're pulling it out of people in a lot of ways involuntarily. But if somebody actually goes, I can laugh at this stuff, and it's okay to laugh at this stuff, and look at all these other people laughing at this stuff, then the shine or the mystique or prestige or the force field around certain protected groups, whatever we're choosing as the latest fake civil rights cause. Seriously, we've gone from March on Selma to sex changes for children. Y'all are really bending the arc of history towards justice. Great work. But if you're allowed to make fun of these latest brand new civil rights movements, then you're just going to let all the bigots win. You can shut people up, but they're still going to think what they think. What are we doing here? You can try to ruin people's lives, but they're going to create new networks and new platforms. So you're not actually canceled when you're canceled. It's a beautiful thing to see. There are more and more folks that before you would never have heard from them again. You never would have heard their side of the story. You certainly would have never seen them talk for a few hours on end, actually get to know persons and people. No, they would have just been unpersoned. They would have just been written out of polite society, you know, the circles that matter. The beautiful thing is the circles that matter are now almost so insular. They're just a group of masturbators. Just high on their own supply, so to speak. 272-9228. So, and also Alabama lost. I don't know if any of y'all knew that, but that happened yesterday. Alabama lost to Michigan. I mean, great game, right? Dramatic game. I watched the whole thing. I don't normally do that, but I watched that entire game, and I was on the edge of my seat, and I'm like, oh no, doggone it. Milrow tripped. Well, damn. Guess it wasn't that year. Is the Saban dynasty over? I don't know. How about this? More news and views in the afternoon. After this, 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation.
Not know whether he's coming or going. But whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hello, I'm Johnny Sullivan from Sinclair's Restaurant. We're almost 27 years, and our business is as good as ever, and I give credit to Blue Water Broadcasting for keeping us on the air and letting people know what we do. Advertising with them has been a huge help to our business. I've seen a uptick from day one. If you need to grow your business, I highly recommend you giving them a call.
Radio works. It's as simple as that. Call us to find out how radio can work for your business. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
I'm Cam Marston. My radio show and podcast called What's Working with Cam Marston focuses on the workplace, workforce, and marketplace trends shaping Alabama business. My guests tell their stories and discuss their business expertise in such a way that you and I can learn from them and apply it to our own world. Listen to What's Working with Cam Marston each Saturday at noon right here on News Talk 93.1.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by JB Windows and Siding. Call Jones Brothers. You'll be glad you did.
JB Windows and Siding.
Well, hi, everybody. One more dry day today, but get ready for some big changes as the Gulf of Mexico storm system approaches. Today, lots of cool sunshine with a high temperature in the middle 50s. Clouds on the increase tonight, but we're dry, overnight low 32. Tomorrow, a cold rain develops by afternoon. Wednesday's high temperature only in the middle 40s. Sunshine cool, low 50s on Thursday. And another storm system arrives by Friday night into Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Thank you once again for voting ASE the best credit union and best mortgage company in Central Alabama's Reader's Choice Awards. We're honored to serve our members for 69 years and counting.
ASE Credit Union. Your life, your goals, ASE.
If it concerns your community, you'll hear about it on News Talk 93.1. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
How you conduct yourself in a democracy?
Joey Clark. Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the program. That's 272-9228. And Randall dialed that number. Hey, Randall, Happy New Year, man.
Man, Happy New Year to you, bro. Like Greg been saying though for the past week and a half, he's like, I can't even say the happy part. And like then Greg put me in my field, like I made y'all, you know what I mean, step my game up. I mean, y'all going hard as y'all can go. And I can't say that I am, you know, so kind of just not really pointing like straight to something, but if y'all want to look this up, follow along, I just want to ask you a couple of questions. Like, 2019, the Pope signs the Human Rights Fraternity or Human Fraternity, the new religion, which would be under the Abrahamic side of things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Abraham Accords. I mean, the Donald Trump side of it, looks like him and his son-in-law were trying to bring countries together. But if you really dive into it, it all matches up with the human rights fraternity and interfaith, everybody getting along, accepting transition.
Yeah, before you keep going, Randall, I've got it pulled up here on, I'll just trust Wikipedia for a moment. The document on human fraternity for world peace and living together, also known as the Abu Dhabi Declaration or the Abu Dhabi Agreement, is a joint statement signed by Pope Francis of the Catholic Church, Sheikh Ahmed El Tayeb, Grand Imam Al Azhar, on February the 4th, 2019. The document was born of a fraternal open discussion between Francis and Tayeb and is concerned with how different faiths can live peacefully in the same world. It's meant to be a guide on advancing a culture of mutual respect.
So, but you can't see how he blessed Abrahamic house in 2020, and the doors were open after the Pope come through. And they've all three done their little, deity to it. You know what I mean? Like that's big, man. That's three different religions. That's all getting along still, Joy. Like, and you know how they bring this stuff in so easy on us, man. Like, you putting it like that down with, you know what I mean, a little lower than what I've been doing. Makes it sound like, you know what I mean, they just patting each other on the back saying we are both religions, all good religions, you know what I mean, we can do this. And I just don't see that. I don't see that in the Bible. I don't see that in the Quran.
What do you see, war and mayhem?
I mean, a lot. What sticks out to me is hellfire and brimstone. I mean, none of the other peace. Jesus, you know what I mean, puts his arm around everybody and puts baby powder on them, but ain't the way I see it, man. Like, no, we have. I mean, this is a war.
What's the imagery of the angels guarding the gates to paradise? They have flaming swords, right? Where to get into paradise, you must be cut of all the fat, let's say, all the sin. Yeah, it's not exactly just, peace, love, and lollipops and sunshine up your butt. Yeah, sometimes goodness is a rough road to hoe. So I get where you're coming from, and the happy talk from the Pope making agreements, but, I mean, what do you think they're actually up to? Some, like, one world religion or something?
Yeah, because it all connects. Even what Trump did in 2016, the interfaith part is a big part of the new religion, and it's there. I mean, how can you open the doors and say this is a house of three religions? It don't exist, man. I mean, that ain't how we do it. It ain't how we need to start doing it either. I don't see that. I mean, maybe Miss Rosie got a different feel.
Now, well, let me put it to you this way, Randall. Do you think it's just a bad idea from the get-go, or do you think they're taking, say, good ideas, but you just don't buy it? I'm
glad you said that word. Look what when you go into this more, you'll see what Donald Trump's son-in-law is mad because more people ain't in it. Like, more countries ain't putting their money to it. He's upset that they're way behind, and he's talking dollar signs. Like, that boy is literally speaking money. So you said the right words. Like, he and this ain't been 4 years ago. You'll see the right it was. Should be like 4 years ago now. and you'll run. But I mean, you can't. Yeah, you. Man, it's I don't know. I mean, I don't want to use the word scared, but I can't let my friends like Greg not want to use the word happy and not have hope, man. Like I don't roll that way, so I'm just gonna lace them up, man.
Oh, okay. Well, happy isn't always the goal, but I think happy can come, and even in the toughest times. And honestly, there are a lot of folks around this world and who have done a lot of living many years before us who didn't have as much as we do, and I'm sure they might have even been happier.
I think they had more joy. The Egyptian pyramids tell you that.
Well, I didn't talk. I'm not talking about 12,000 years ago. You know, I meant like a few centuries ago. God.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, Randall. Happy New Year, man. Love you too, bro. Goodness gracious. 272-9228. How about this? This part of the program brought to you by Ashley and that great team there at Pest Pro Services. Folks, it's not too early and it ain't too late to get termite treatment. Now, it might be too late if the termites have already, gotten and hit your home, got in, they've eaten everything. Like, you've even got crown molding turning to dust. Well, you still need to get the treatment done to kill the termites, but you're going to have some pretty costly damage, and both termite treatment and damage is not covered by homeowners insurance. That's why if you go ahead and get that house treated, they can even lay down bait there at Pest Pro Services. They have the Termidor HP2 injection unit. It's a very impressive unit. It's the very best and newest technology when it comes to this pest control game. Pest Pro Services can help you out with that. And of course, all your pest control needs. Go ahead and make them your everyday pest control company. That number for Pest Pro, 265-9990. That's 265-9990. Or you can always go to ppsriverregion.com or just search Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces. When you want to know, call a pro. Pest Pro Services. And be sure to tell them, well, you heard about them here on News and Views in the afternoon. More News and Views after this.
Joey Clark.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Is your cell phone or iPad cracked, broken, or not working right? Don't let the big carrier stores sucker you into a new $1,100 device. Let XI Repair fix your device today. XI Repair fixes cell phones, computers, laptops, iPads, game consoles, drones, and more. Their certified technicians fix hundreds of devices every day. When your device needs care, call XI Repair, 334-777-1234, or Google XI Repair.
News and talk without the static. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. And I'm going to keep going here because a fascinating breakdown of the woke coming up from Anna Krylov. Anna Krylov, she's a chemistry professor. She's published several pieces on how left woke ideology is undermining science. And coming up in the next hour, we will be breaking down her latest. You know, you often think, and I'm a creature of, say, the humanities, got a political science degree, but I've always loved English and history. And I found in taking a lot of those classes, even at Auburn University, there was a lot of the woke stuff that had completely taken over the humanities. It really is a crying shame for the most part. But there are a lot of folks who thought, well, that's the humanities. It's just words, hermeneutics. You're just talking about the interpretation of language and social convention, so it can mean anything to anybody. But the hard sciences, with their, standards of proof and their ironclad methodology, they'll never be corrupted by the woke brigade. Physics won't. Chemistry certainly won't. Well, apparently, according to this one chemistry professor, the woke ideology is undermining science. So we'll get to that in just a second. We also have a brand new piece out from Victor Davis Hanson about this year, 2024, being a year of reckoning. Also, Brian Dawson, the founder of 1819 News, put out an amazing op-ed yesterday. It's trending there on their site. We'll have to read that. I've got an op-ed out, though it's pretty short and to the point. Hey, we should now make swatting a felony in Alabama. Right now it's a Class A misdemeanor, which is the worst when it comes to misdemeanors, but I think it should be a full-on felony. Because this continues to happen around the nation, around the state. It happens to high-profile media figures, politicians, but I think the worst is when it happens to schools, school districts, and churches, including lately the Jewish community here in central Alabama. So I think the penalties in the next legislative session need to be upped. Let's make swatting a felony here in Alabama. Other states have already done it, like Ohio. Alabama should take their lead. But earlier, Red Top was asking about what's going on with this libertarian debate, and we're still working out all the details. In fact, this week is the week I'm going to start really buttoning things up. But the convention, Patrick, our friendly libertarian here, always commenting on the live stream. Again, Joey Clark Live on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Patrick says, February 2nd through the 4th, Mount Cheaha State Park, Bald Rock Lodge. The debate is the evening of February the 3rd. I believe that is a Saturday. And they'll have Mike Termott, or Matt, I'm going to have to learn these names, Michael Rechtenwald and Jacob Hornberger confirmed. Chase Oliver and Lars Mapstead are tentatively agreed. And they're going to try to stream the audio at least if the video isn't able to support a video stream. And then Charles Belay, I believe, is also confirmed. So there you go, Red Top. Charles Belay. 272-9228. Yeah, I'll be formulating some questions as we get closer to the event time. I look forward to hosting that. And format seems to make good sense. I'm hoping be more gentleman's discussion than some raucous, like, Twitter fight, but we shall see. Again, 272-9228. If you want to call into the show, that's 272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by, Josh and Leslie Ryder there at Dillon Rings. Now, I'm wondering, are they back from vacation yet? I'm not sure. But here's the deal. You can always go to DillonRings.com. You can always go to DillonRings.com or search Dillon Rings on the Book of Faces. They have an active Facebook page or Instagram. And, they're still on vacation right now until January the 3rd. I guess that's tomorrow. But later in the week, they will be there at Dillon Rings. And I'm sure there are still all sorts of amazing selections there, from high-end jewelry items to everyday jewelry, stuff that you're not going to cry over if you lose it or you mess it up a little bit. But it still looks great. They also have an amazing selection of watches for men and women. And not to mention the fact that they're a full-service jewelry shop there at Dillon Rings. That means they can do spa treatments, cleanings, they can do repairs, they can reset stones, they can even string pearls. And don't forget about the custom design work done by Josh Ryder. The man is an artist. He's kind of a mad scientist, too, when you go back to his lab. But the guy can do it all when it comes to jewelry, and his work is beautiful. It truly is. If you can dream it, Josh Ryder can make it a reality. So whether you're looking for a customized ring or necklace, pendant, bracelet, surprise gift at a surprising time can go a long way, too, folks. The holidays just got done, and maybe folks feel a little disappointed with the gift giving, or it just wasn't. Why not surprise somebody? Or just start getting ready already, gentlemen, for Valentine's Day. Well, Dillon Rings can help you with all of that. So check them out today. You can always go to 119 Brown Springs Road, But I really encourage you to call them there, 215-3669, or just check them out on the Book of Faces or Instagram. That's Dylan Rings, great sponsor here of News and Views in the afternoon. How about this? We'll hit a quick break. Second hour of News and Views in the afternoon coming up after this.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
Well, that's our news. I'm John Scott. Hamas and Hezbollah officials say top Hamas official Saleh Arari has been killed in an explosion in a southern Beirut suburb. Arari had headed the group's presence in the West Bank. A passenger plane and a Japanese Coast Guard aircraft colliding on the runway at Tokyo's Haneda Airport and burst into flames. Officials say 5 people on the smaller plane were killed. All 379 people on the Japan Airlines flight did get out of that aircraft safely. Officials in Ukraine say the country's 2 largest cities have been struck by Russian ballistic missile attacks, with at least 5 people killed, nearly 100 were injured. The Dow had 55 points, but the Nasdaq down 234. This is SRN News.
Do you want more online safety and privacy? I know I do. That's why I started using NordVPN. It guards me against various internet threats. Digital trackers, malicious websites, and malware-infected downloads? Back off. I choose to browse with more confidence. I choose NordVPN.
To avoid digital threats, turn on NordVPN. It's trusted by millions of users. Just visit NordVPN.com. One of the fastest VPNs on Earth will block web trackers, malicious websites, and malware-ridden downloads. It will also encrypt your internet traffic while maintaining a smooth connection. So improve your digital privacy and protection against hackers with one simple click. Get the special deal at NordVPN.com and enjoy safer internet daily. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
Weather is brought to you by the Johnny Adams Law Firm.
Your health and well-being can quickly be impacted by changing weather. The Johnny Adams Law Firm wants you to remain safe and be weather alert with the Rich Thomas Weather Network.
Well, hi, everybody. One more dry day today, but get ready for some big changes as the Gulf of Mexico storm system approaches. Today, lots of cool sunshine with a high temperature in the middle 50s. Clouds on the increase tonight, but we're dry, overnight low 32. Tomorrow, a cold rain develops by afternoon. Wednesday's high temperature only in the middle 40s. Sunshine cool, low 50s on Thursday. And another storm system arrives by Friday night into Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, here's today's top stories. The Montgomery Police Department has released its 2023 homicide figures. The city recorded 75 homicides in 2023. That compares to 62 in 2022 and 77 in 2021. The MPD notes that their rate of homicide arrests is higher than the national average. Montgomery Judge James Anderson has temporarily blocked Alabama from issuing licenses to medical marijuana dispensaries amid an ongoing legal battle over how the state selected the winning companies. Medical marijuana remains unavailable in Alabama more than 2 years after it was legalized in 2021. More than 675,000 cans of baby formula are being recalled because of possible bacterial contamination. The FDA is warning of possible contamination in Nutrimygen hypoallergenic powdered infant formula products for a bacteria that could cause rare but ultimately deadly infections in newborns. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
The Tierce family has been your local Roto-Rooter service since 1964. Drain cleaning, plumbing repair, and those troublesome septic tanks, no problem. Technology has changed a bit in the last 54 years. Video inspections of lines to locate problems is available, as well as scheduling your appointment online. River Region residents have trusted Roto-Rooter for over half a century. You can too. Call today at 272-7130 or visit online at rotorooteralabama.com.
Call Roto-Rooter, that's the name, and legal troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Now, as promised, from the desk of Brian Dawson of 1819 News, I've been trying to write op-eds for them every week. Sometimes I succeed better than, sometimes it's better, certain weeks than it is other weeks. But I'm always looking out for other great writers around the political scene, but it is very much a pleasant surprise, because I know he's a busy man, that Brian Dawson, the founder there of 1819 News, is on the op-ed page of 1819 News as of yesterday. And the name of the story is, "Don't Molest the Alligators and Other Bizarre Warnings." So let's read. Again, this is by Brian Dawson. I remember the first time I drove into Florida and saw multiple signs reading, "Don't feed or disturb the alligators." There must have been more than a few folks turned into alligator food for this scenario to become such a chronic problem needing signs, I thought. Feeding or disturbing a prehistoric carnivorous reptile with nearly 100 teeth, known for its unbelievable jaw strength and signature death roll, never crossed my mind. I didn't need a sign to tell me not to do that. I somehow knew instinctively that I might become the food if I tried to feed such a beast or even ventured near one. On the flip side, I don't think those signs will actually stop anyone intent on feeding the alligator. See, the type of person that would pester an alligator is probably not the type of person who's predisposed to reading and obeying park signs. At the end of the day, there are people who play with alligators and there are people who don't. The warning signs and posted advice do little good except to let everyone know that there has apparently been a pretty serious problem with alligators and people interacting in ways that are probably not good for either party. Over the weekend, I saw a news story on our site that reminded me of this exact scenario. Craig Munger reported that Theron Stokes, the Associate Executive Director of the Alabama Education Association, otherwise known as the AEA, thought it would be a good idea to put out an alligator sign of his own for the teachers he represents. The holiday advice given in the AEA's Alabama School Journal amounted to, don't drink and drive, don't smoke the reefer, and don't have sex with the children who are in your care. All very sound advice, but something tells me this is a lot like the alligator sign. Somehow, I think the teachers who are going to hit the roads drunk, smoke weed, and have inappropriate sexual relationships with students are not going to be fazed by this warning. However, like the alligator sign, Stokes' warning tells us that there appears to be a chronic problem among Alabama teachers with these issues. And this isn't conjecture, as Stokes says, that, quote, countless education employees have been terminated for drinking and driving, and a, quote, large number of educators, end quote, have been fired and arrested for the misconduct of inappropriate sexual relationships with students. As bad as drinking and drug use is, the fact that the AEA felt it necessary to remind teachers not to slide into your students' DMs, that's an actual quote from this thing, or quote unquote, hook up with them, is quite possibly the most bizarre and alarming warning I've ever seen, writes Brian Dawson. Even more so than the don't hold the wrong end of the chainsaw warning sticker on my trusty steel gas-powered tree chopper. Well, of course, Brian Dawson's appliances for the yard is German. I don't know who should be more infuriated and disturbed by this, writes Brian Dawson. The parents who trust their children with these educators or the good teachers throughout the state whose occupation has been irreparably tarnished by rampant misconduct exhaustively protected by the AEA. I can't imagine being a parent of a child in the public education system and then seeing the holiday reminder go out to those entrusted with that child's care to not do drugs or have sex with students, of which my child was one. I also can't imagine spending my entire career as an educator, pouring my life into the development of future generations, a once sacred duty, and then seeing it devolve into a group needing reminders not to do drugs or have sex with students. This is reminiscent of what COVID revealed about the medical profession. At one time, the most respected profession, the medical industry, devolved into a group of people more focused on keeping their high-paying jobs and not upsetting the public health apparatus, and then upholding their Hippocratic oath to do no harm. Pastors locking down their churches, forcing masks, and telling their congregation that taking an experimental shot was loving their neighbor also fall into this category. It seems that every sacred profession is in a major state of decay, writes Brian Dawson, which is also evidence of massive societal decline. Unfortunately, education is at the heart of this societal decline. A state that can't produce children who can read is not likely to produce teachers who will refrain from drug use and inappropriate relationships with students. Again, that is from the desk of Brian Dawson. I think it is great stuff there. And, just is a bizarre thing for one of the executive directors there at the AA to be pushing out to the teachers they represent. Just odd. Well, we were just trying to make a joke. Okay, that's a weird joke. You know me, I don't mind jokes, but it's an odd one. But back to this person I mentioned earlier, again, 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation, named Anna Krylov, a chemistry professor. She's published several pieces on how woke ideology is undermining science. Not English, not history, not the humanities, but science. She gives examples of four main issues: the policing of language, ever longer list of forbidden words like healthy weight. Wait, if you're using the term healthy weight in an article, say on weight loss, or say like your level of fat, like your body fat percentage, you can't use healthy weight. There's no such thing as a healthy weight for somebody. Huh. We'll keep going with this, but first, let's go to line one. You're on the air. Who's this?
This is Bob.
Hey, Bob. How you doing?
I'm all right.
Happy New Year.
I tell you, Joy, I'm reading the most fascinating book that has cleared my mind of understanding or not understanding what's going on in the United States. And the book is called The Puppeteers.
The Puppeteers?
Yes, I highly recommend it. It's, we talked about the Great Reset, and I didn't understand it nearly as well till I read this. I'm reading the book, and he's basically saying that, and of course he's a former senator writing it, but he said that what's controlling the country is not the Congress or elected officials. It's these agencies. That they're out of control and they spend what they want, they do what they want, basically. But back to the Great Reset, everything that's going on in this country is to tear it down economically, through the educational system, everything, through the border, to tear this country down, to reset, i.e. reset, so that we will be like China or Russia, that the government is entirely in control of everything going on in the average person's life. It's just fascinating. I mean, he goes through all the aspects of the country, and it's all directed toward that one goal of tearing us down and then resetting us so that we'll be like China or Russia. Fascinating.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it now on Amazon. The Puppeteers by Jason Chaffetz. So,
That's right.
Yeah, folks, y'all check it out. And I've got a bunch of books. I'm working my way through Human Smoke by a guy named Nicholas Baker. It's a World War II history, but it's done in the style of little blurbs from newspapers and diaries. So it's like little tweet-length excerpts that go into about a 300-page book, and it'll blow your hair back. It's like experiencing the rise of World War II in real time, not this sort of retrospective. I guess the long and short of it is World War II ain't a Marvel movie. And, you know, every day ain't a Marvel movie. These folks who play the Republican versus Democrat game are like, what are you talking about? And I appreciate somebody like Jason Chaffetz writing a book to reveal a little bit what's happening behind the curtain.
It's amazing. It's almost depressing to read it, though.
Right. Yeah, well, now you get out of my head, Bob. That's every day when I read Twitter. It is a weird time right now.
It is. It is, but at least it puts my mind at rest because I can't comprehend somebody trying to tear down the greatest nation in the world, and there's a reason behind it. See, it's not all accidental.
Well, and I love, this is a line from Jonathan Capehart. He's one of the potted plants that is a corporate press reporter. He says, the idea that there is a cabal of liberal elites attacking democracy and going after Trump is ridiculous. And you want to know why he thinks it's ridiculous, Bob? It's because Republicans are attacking Trump too. Like, what? That's
right. That's right.
See, they still think we're stuck in the 90s of Democrat bad, Republican good. And there are a lot of folks, especially conservatives, who are like, no, they kind of all are bad. Kind of sending us astray.
It goes back to that op-ed you were reading about the education system. Of course, that was all part of the plan, too, to destroy our history and to dumb down so we don't know our rights and we don't know what we're due as a society. And so that's just a part of it also.
Yep.
And so it just all adds up. But it's, a little bit of knowledge is dangerous, and I think a lot's depressing.
Well, I appreciate the call as always, Bob.
Have a good year.
You
Bye-bye.
too, sir. 272-9228. What a year it's going to be. But I want to get back to this. Again, this is a chemistry professor named Anna Krylov, and she actually has a new fully scholarly article published called Critical Social Justice Subverts Scientific Publishing. The abstract is the politicization of science, the infusion of ideology into the scientific enterprise, threatens the ability of science to serve humanity. Today, the greatest such threat comes from a set of ideological viewpoints collectively referred to as critical social justice. This contribution describes how critical social justice has detrimentally affected scientific publishing by means of social engineering, censorship, and the suppression of scholarship. So they're constantly policing language. For instance, there's now an ever longer list of forbidden words. One example of forbidden terms or words is healthy weight. No such thing as a healthy weight. You're just being fat phobic. Number 2, rewriting the history of science. More and more scientists are having their names stricken from buildings, textbooks, awards, etc. Number 3, suppression of viewpoints and research results. Paper retraction, censorship of valid research. For example, in 2022, Nature Human Behavior published an editorial stating that the journal will not publish valid research that the editors consider, quote-unquote, harmful to groups. I thought science was concerned with what's true. Because if we're going to start saying, well, it might be true, but it's an inconvenient truth, or it might be true, or it's harmful to folks. Define harmful. Because I think your overwrought, devouring motherly concerns are harmful to everybody, too. So define harmful. Because it's always the folks who are harmed, who have the deepest wounds, who feel like they're justified in harming others, and setting in even deeper wounds on others. Seeing the plank in their brother's eye, never the frickin'... Sorry, got a little worked up there. But of course, they're also replacing merit-based publications by quotas for editors, authors, reviewers, and citation justice, etc. For instance, the Royal Society of Chemistry journals have a target quota of 36% of women editors and reviewers. Right. Why can't it be 50% women some years? I don't get this whole idea. It's got to be 50-50. You know, that's just... How about we base it on merit? Who's actually good at the science? And, well, the reason I think this chemistry professor is so wise to this stuff, she grew up in the USSR, saying that similar kinds of ideological abuse of science are now happening in the West. So it should be a wake-up call that this virus is getting into every aspect of the ivory tower, getting into every aspect of our lives. But like I was saying earlier, the circles that matter, the cool kids, well, they just ain't that cool anymore. And people are kind of taking their ball and building their own home, playing on their own court, so to speak. Again, the canceling of folks seems to be less successful by the day, and it's beautiful to behold. Again, 272-9228 if you want to get in on the program. This entire hour, by the way, folks, brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And there at Alabama Home Mortgage, Kim Williams and her team, well, they're ready to help you with that home of yours. It could be that you're looking to buy a brand new home. Maybe it's the right time for you. Could be that family's getting bigger, or maybe you're downsizing. Well, Alabama Home Mortgage can help you with that, from pre-approval all the way to closing day and every step in between. They have your back there. They're going to actually get to know you, get to understand what your goal is in buying a home, and then get you the best possible deal, especially if you're a veteran. They're VA Home Loan certified there at Alabama Home Mortgage. They're the latest when it comes to those VA loans you veterans earned through your service. You want to take advantage of that. It also applies to refinance deals, all the rage right now. Maybe you had a tight beginning of the year. Maybe you got cash flow issues. Could be you're under mountains of debt still. Well, if you got equity built up in your home, a refinance deal can be a great way to put yourself on a more sound financial footing. So call up Kim and Madeline today. That number, 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or you can always visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Let Kim and Madeline prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender. Again, 272-9228 is the number if you want to get in on the conversation, 272-9228. But how about this? Let's hit a break. We'll come back right after this.
Know whether he's coming or going. But whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
This is your roving reporter, and today I'm talking with a famous broadcaster.
Hey man, what's happening?
Now, I understand you radio people move a lot, is that correct?
Yeah, sometimes.
Well, how does this affect your taking care of your retirement money?
Oh man, I don't give that a second thought because my buddy David Ernest. He's my money man.
Your money man?
With the money plan.
I see.
So no matter where I go up and down the dial, David has my back, you know?
I'll bet you know some phone numbers our listeners could call to talk with David Ernest.
334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839.
And he has a website at retirewithernest.com.
Hey, you're on top of it today, man.
I also understand that you hold some sort of a record in broadcasting.
Yes. I was the first person to put together a show with myself, a duck, a chicken, and a goose. But it didn't last long. We got taken off the air.
Why were you taken off the air?
Too much foul language, man.
Oh, my.
I wasn't crazy about that one myself.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
I'm Cam Marston. My radio show and podcast called What's Working with Cam Marston focuses on the workplace, workforce, and marketplace trends shaping Alabama business. My guests tell their stories and discuss their business expertise in such a way that you and I can learn from them and apply it to our own world. Listen to What's Working with Cam Marston each Saturday at noon right here on News Talk 93.1.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
The River Region's first and only news talk station on FM. Live, local talk. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 272-9228. But right now, I've been sitting on this one for a while, but this is Victor Davis Hanson from the desk of Victor Davis Hanson. 2024, the year of our reckoning. Hanson writes, we should remember the now modern proverb of Nixon-era economic advisor Herb Stein to the effect of, what cannot go on without destroying the nation simply will not go on. What cannot go on simply will not go on. In some sense, the country for recent years has been cruising on the fumes from prior and likely better, wiser generations and institutions. In 2024, the tab for our current apathy, toxic politics, and incompetence will come due. So next year, we will likely see the climax. By the way, Victor wrote this last year. So this year, 2024, we will likely see the climax to a number of current dangerous ideas, events, and forces, which finally will either overwhelm us or be addressed and remedied. We live in a Neronian age, but can recover if we first understand how we got here and the nature of the suicide we are committing. In 2023, it became clear to even the most loyal supporters of the Biden administration that the U.S. has simply lost or indeed forfeited American deterrence abroad. Our enemies do not fear us. Our friends do not trust us. And neutrals do not care either way. I think even with American deterrence, that's kind of the case, Victor. But Hansen goes on. He says, after the 2021 Kabul debacle, the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine, the 2023 brazen Chinese spy balloon's uncontested trajectory over the United States, and the recent Hamas invasion of Israel, the serial Iranian-fueled terrorist attacks on U.S. installations in the Middle East, and the terrorist Houthi veritable absorption of the Red Sea, many of America's opportunistic enemies drew conclusions and adopted strategies that would have been previously unthinkable. Either adversaries will be so emboldened to start regional wars, and important Iran now brags it will block the entire Mediterranean, or a United States will be shocked into action and have to deter Iran, the Houthis, and Islamic terrorism, while dealing with an opportunistic China eager to annex Taiwan, and Russia determined to finish off Ukraine. Before I keep going here, when I see that list, Iran, the Houthis, Islamic terrorism, China trying to take Taiwan, Russia trying to finish off Ukraine, how's that keeping me safe? Sorry to be so selfish. How does you doing this all around the world keep my backside safe? Or the actual American nation safe? It's one thing to have strong deterrence so certain things just don't even happen. But also deterrence kind of goes out the window, I'd imagine, when you make all sorts of promises that you and your adversaries clearly know you ain't going to fulfill. When you write checks that you can't cash, so to speak. I think that's what the United States has been doing for way too damn long. And it's on the fumes of, yes, generations that were wiser than us that actually gave us all this wealth. Anyway, back to Victor Davis Hanson. Those challenges will force the military to staunch its recruitment hemorrhaging, rectify low morale, and rearm. Such rebooting, in turn, will require discarding the woke agenda, stopping the DEI proselytizing and virtue signaling, and returning to a meritocracy focused on military preparedness and battlefield efficacy. Since January 2021, the Biden administration has flagrantly and unapologetically dismantled federal immigration law. It destroyed the border as we once knew it. It has already greenlighted more than 8 million illegal entrants, with another 250,000 entering each month. I think it was over 250,000 last month. Yeah. Somebody said think of it like 17 Yankee stadiums filled up. Look at these amazing college bowl games going on right now, folks. What, 100,000 here, 120,000 there, 80,000 there? Yeah, more than a football stadium is crossing the border in a month. No one in government has offered any projected costs to states and federal agencies of offering health, food, housing, legal, and education subsidies to millions who broke the law by entering the U.S. and continue to violate it while residing unlawfully here. Is that the sign of a promising American citizen, that the first thing he does upon entering America is to break his host's law? Incredibly, no one has even explained to Americans why millions of illegal aliens are exempt from the vaccine mandates, background checks, and adherence to the law that is demanded of U.S. citizens and legal immigrants. We will soon demand real IDs of American citizen airline travelers while we fly illegal aliens all over the states without any identification. In fact, those who blew up the border can't honestly even explain to the American people why they did so. Was it to ensure future, even present political constituents? Cheap labor? To ensure higher taxes to pay for more government services and to spread the wealth? Obedience to the diversity, equity, inclusion lobbies? To make up for fleeing blue state populations? The United States has now exceeded, both in real numbers and in percentages, all past numbers of non-native born American residents at a time when civic education, the idea of the melting pot, and adherence to assimilation have never been more under assault. In 2024, either the border will close or the United States will suffer radical political realignments. The sheer chaos in our major cities, protests from Americans furious over the complete flaunting of federal law by their own elected officials, and a likely impeachment of Joe Biden for deliberately forsaking his oath to faithfully execute the office of President of the United States. The October 7th Hamas invasion of Israel and pre-modern massacring of nearly 1,200 Jews, and the virulent anti-Semitism that swept our elite campuses in big cities even before the October 27th IDF retaliatory invasion of Gaza was a wake-up call about the radicalized hatred and anti-Semitism now endemic on the left. Campus protesters dropped the prior protestations that were not anti-Semitic in their hatred of Israel. Instead, they now call out Jews by name. They disrupt their homes and businesses, regardless of their views on Zionism. Pro-Hamas protesters feel free to harass Jews, and with impunity and arrogance chant genocidal chants promising the destruction of Israel and its population. But all this is not tenable. Our top universities, for instance, are facing a perfect storm: declining pools of students, crushing student loan debt, spiraling tuition and room and board costs, administrative bloat, defecting donors, and the public's distrust of such people being entrusted with their children's higher education. It will all soon lead to a general reexamination of the very need of these universities in the first place, at least as they are presently constituted. In 2024, radical changes in university administration and values will begin to be made, where higher education will face a reckoning from the public and a newly elected government. And of course, now we have the issue of Donald Trump. Him being removed from the 2024 ballot on the specious grounds that he is an insurrectionist. Colorado did it, Maine most recently. But aside from the misapplication of the spirit and letter of that post-Civil War legislation, those responsible for erasing Trump know that he has never been charged with, much less convicted of quote-unquote insurrection, and he never will be. They understand that half the country knows the January 6th riot was a work of unarmed, overzealous, and buffoonish protesters who broke the law by entering the Capitol, but otherwise had no master insurrectionary plan. And the majority surrounding the Capitol did, in fact, obey the president's call to protest peacefully and patriotically. The left privately understands that their latest weaponization of government follows their Russian collusion hoax, their laptop disinformation farce, their two politicized impeachments, their performance art Mar-a-Lago documents raid, and thus are all part of a systematic degradation of our campaigns, elections, and political customs, tradition, and discourse. A jaded public knows too well that such punitive measures never applied to the 2016 Hillary Clinton crimes of destroying subpoenaed emails and devices, or the FBI's illegal alteration of FISA documents, or its contracting out social media to suppress news stories, or its hiring of a foreign national, Christopher Steele, compiled a fake dossier to destroy the candidacy of Donald Trump. A majority of Americans further know that had Donald Trump not chosen to run for office in 24, state and federal prosecutors such as the publicity-seeking and partisan Alvin Bragg, Letitia James, Jack Smith, and Fani Willis never would have indicted him. All privately know that the entire Biden family, including Joe, the president, could just as easily be indicted on state and local felonies. But the Biden consortium finds itself exempt both for its leftist ideology and its current control of the Department of Justice. What then do the campaign and election of 2024 foreordain? We will be in entirely new and completely dangerous territory. The likely Republican nominee who currently leads incumbent President Biden will be, for most of the 2024 campaign, the constant target of a coordinated state and local Soviet-like effort to destroy his candidacy before voters can even vote for or against him in the November election. The United States 2023 annual budget deficit is about $1.7 trillion. The nation is burdened by a $34 trillion national debt, even though the federal government since 2021 has raised all sorts of new income and excise taxes. The era of printing money, zero interest rates, modern monetary theory, and spending wildly is drawing to a close. The mounting interest on the national debt is now crowding out optional, but soon essential annual federal spending. At some point, one generation of Americans is going to have to exercise spending restraint or accept a continuing decline in its living standard. In 2024, we will either see the destruction of presidential electoral politics as we have known them, or a complete repudiation of lawfare. The current new normal that the party in power indicts the leading candidate of the opposition is not sustainable or compatible with the idea of America. Either the military will have to deter dramatically our growing number of opportunistic enemies, or it will descend into something like the French army between the world wars, plagued by ideology, ossified brass, corruption, mediocrity, misplaced investments, and bankrupt strategies. If there are not radical changes in higher education, our Ivy League and self-identified elite campuses will go the way of Bud Light, Disney, and Target. Once premier brands reduced to red ink and laughingstock caricatures. The United States is cracking under 8 million illegal entries. It cannot sustain another year and 2 million more illegal entrants, or a total of 55 to 60 million foreign-born residents with no idea of how many are U.S. citizens, illegal aliens, or green card holders, or how many are employable or free of criminal records or in need of massive federal and state subsidies. In 2024, the U.S. will begin to see that to meet its spiraling debt, it will either keep inflating its currency or slash spending, or raise even further taxes to the degree that even the lower middle class will have to pay 50% of their income in state and federal taxes, or renounce its debt, and thus go full third world. Will we meet these challenges or ensure the ongoing decline? If what we saw after October 7th, or the wild and out-of-control reign of weaponized local and state prosecutors, or what we watch nightly on television at the border, or the paralyses we witness abroad of our military, or the breezy way in which our officials promise groups here and abroad billions of dollars in easy money continues into 2024, and the country as we knew it will be unrecognizable. Well, I'll just kindly say to Victor Davis Hanson, who wrote all those words, that I think it's already unrecognizable in a lot of ways. In fact, I think we've been fundamentally changed in a lot of ways. People just don't see it yet. They're still blissfully unaware of all this. 272-9228. Got to hit this break in a second. We should have Michael Cohen of Cohen's Electronics and Appliances on the line. More news and views in the afternoon after this.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Do you have a cell phone or tablet that isn't charging, dying fast, or maybe the screen is damaged? Don't get suckered into buying a new one. XI Repair can fix your current device same day and in under 30 minutes. Their certified technicians fix and recover data from thousands of cell phones, computers, tablets, game consoles, and drones 7 days a week. Give them a call today at 334-777-1234 or visit them online at xirepair.com.
Did you know that over 12 times a day, someone in Autauga County calls 911 to report a medical or fire emergency? Volunteer first responders are saving lives and property, and you can be part of their team.
Volunteering as a first responder is really about making a difference where it's needed most, and Autauga County needs you now more than ever. Are you ready to answer the call?
To begin your journey, you can find any of the agencies of the Autauga County Firefighters Association on Facebook or visit makemeafirefighter.org.
Oh, this cold.
Honey?
Honey?
Honey, you need DayQuil Severe Honey.
DayQuil Severe Honey gives you powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a honeylicious taste, because life doesn't stop for a cold.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Now I'm getting a cold.
Honey.
Try DayQuil Severe Honey for powerful cold and flu relief. DayQuil Severe with honey flavor. The daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, honeylicious, power through your day medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Montgomery Paint and Body. From a little fender bender to total body repair, MPB will fix it good as new, maybe better. For over 35 years, the Turner family has been getting you back on the road. Call 279-7325.
Well, hi, everybody. One more dry day today, but get ready for some big changes as a Gulf of Mexico storm system approaches. Today, lots of cool sunshine with a high temperature in the middle 50s. Clouds on the increase tonight, but we're dry, overnight low 32. Tomorrow, a cold rain develops by afternoon. Wednesday's high temperature only in the middle 40s. Sunshine cool, low 50s on Thursday. And another storm system arrives by Friday night into Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
John Bobo with Capital Tractor. Together we have hauled it, lifted it, dug it, and mowed it. Season after season, to every customer who has walked through our doors, thank you for trusting Capital Tractor and Kubota. Kubota and Capital Tractor, Montgomery, Brundage, and Greenville.
Hey y'all, this is Tammy at Mama's Produce, and it's a new season here. We're not going anywhere. We'll be here through the fall. We've got all of your tailgate needs. We've got breakfast needs. Don't forget we got new sausages in. Those sausages we had last year, they're back. Still got your tomatoes, other fresh vegetables, and we're going to have some new things coming online, so stay tuned to our Facebook page and look out.
Live, local talk. The River Region's most trusted voice for news and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Again, we are now live streaming the show, Joey Clark Live. Like and subscribe on YouTube. That's Joey Clark Live, the name of the channel on YouTube, or at the Joey Clark of the Twitter X platform. And be sure to give us a follow, and especially if you're just trying to have a good way to listen to the show, even if you're out of range of regular terrestrial radio. You can throw on the YouTube video. You can even go to other apps or, turn off the phone, so to speak. You don't have to watch everything. But it's a great way to connect with the show, comment, interact, do as you please, folks. And, of course, you, again, always call at 272-9228. Now, there's plenty going on in terms of clip land, like all the crazy things people are saying to one another, in particular around the immigration issue we were just talking about, citing Victor Davis Hanson. In particular, is all these folks who have now figured out, who are within, say, halls of power, they've all figured out that, well, this is a kind of a problem. But guess whose fault it is, folks? It ain't the Biden administration. It isn't the policies at the border. No, the problem is all these Republican governors who are making it a difficult situation for the sanctuary cities. Let's listen in. This is, I believe, CNN talking to Mean Corinne Jean.
That is according to Jersey City's posts on social media.
The migrant crisis and the wars in Gaza and Ukraine are all on the top of the president's to-do list in 2024. Joining us now to discuss the year ahead, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Audie. Thank you for having me. Happy New Year.
We want to talk both domestic and international, but I want to get a sense first from you. What is the White House considering a priority in this first month of the year?
So look, I want to take a step back for just a moment as we look at 24, and we're in 24, but just a step back, this president has done more in 3 years than any other president has done in 2 terms. And that is important here, Audie. If you think about the legislation that deals with infrastructure, the roads and tunnels that are going to be really dealt with in a real way. You think about the Chips and Science Act. You think about beating Big Pharma and lowering prescription drugs. When you think about how seniors and others were paying $35.
I can't. No, shut up. I can't stand press secretaries. Honestly, can't stand everybody who just picks a team and they stump for the team, and it seems their ability to tell the truth stops when it comes to their frickin' team. Well, I've got my tribe. We're just a bunch of chimps, aren't we, at this point? Showing that we evolved from them, for sure. Well, that other tribe's close to us. Let's go beat them up. I don't care if it's the Biden administration, where you're talking about all these folks, now stumping for DeSantis online, or all the folks stumping for Trump. Like, nobody can ever admit any wrongdoing. Trump's not allowed to admit that he really screwed the pooch when it came to COVID. Really screwed the pooch. Can we inject the pooch one more time? You can still vote for Trump and believe that. But you can at least admit it. We could talk about that DeSantis on the campaign trail is wooden. He doesn't come across as a very, say, electrifying, exciting sort of fella. But no, everything must be right. And of course, with Joe Biden, the man who's essentially half dead, he's a cadaver already. I'm swearing they're already harvesting his organs. That guy's accomplished more than any other president in the last 3 years, and I'm so tired of them saying that our accomplishments is just spending trillions of dollars to little to no effect. Because how many years do you think will it take for, well, we need another infrastructure bill. We need to build more walking paths. The interstate was genius by Eisenhower. You know, I'm sorry about all the road accidents, but we got to keep expanding things. It's just, there are moments where I'm like, y'all are liars. You're parasites. You make your living off manipulating other people and stealing other people's money and then spending that money you stole and acting like you're raining down manna from heaven, like you're the good guys, like you're on the right side of history and the right side of God. Honestly, I'm starting to think nobody is. And yet somebody's got to win. Ain't that the truth? We could all lose, but still end up out front. So thought she was going to get to immigration, but apparently not. Apparently not. Apparently we just have to list all his accomplishments over and over and over again. But here, let's finally get to immigration. Good God. I'm going to try this again. Go ahead, Green Jean.
Collectively calling for federal support to manage the influx of migrants to their areas. I'd like you to hear a little bit about what they have to say.
It's the mayor of Chicago, I believe, about to speak.
An international and federal crisis that local governments are being asked to subsidize, and this is unsustainable.
When you're talking about 10% of the budget to allocate for cities on this, that's unsustainable.
Mayor of Denver.
Every single hotel room in the city full of migrants that have arrived, that's unsustainable.
The federal government
Eric Adams from New York City.
New York City, we're not going to do our job, you do our job. You take care of 4,000 people a week, Eric.
So obviously there have been many Republican governors and mayors who have talked about this issue. Now you're hearing it from within the party. What's the response?
So here's my response. It is shameful that a Republican governor, Governor Abbott in Texas, is using migrants as a political stunt. That's what he's been doing.
So you're
for
referring to the
past 2 years,
busing of migrants to northern cities?
Absolutely. And the busing of migrants, the putting them on flights, it is shameful that that is occurring. And instead of, if the governor really, truly wants to deal with this issue, he should talk to the senators in his states and actually ask them to work with us. Look, what we're seeing right now is negotiations happening on the Senate side to talk about how do we come up with a bipartisan agreement to deal with border security. There's a reason why the president put that in his emergency ask, right, in the national security supplemental ask, because he thought it was incredibly important. In a couple of weeks, we're about to hit 3 years since the president put forward an immigration comprehensive legislation.
Go jump in a lake. Shove it up your backside. Again, these folks aren't operating in good faith. We're sanctuary cities. Okay, here's folks that want sanctuary. No, you're disgraceful for sending them here. How do you think the border towns feel? And for Joe Biden and the Democrats and so many other Republicans that have been up there for years, Republicans who had the opportunity when Trump was president, but they resisted when they held both houses in Congress, both chambers. Well, we're working on it. You're working on you seem to just manage problems and manage problems and manage problems and spin and spin and spin and lie and lie and lie, and you don't even solve a frickin' thing. All you do is just milk the general population. I need to calm down. Oh, I know what they'll do the trick. Let's go to Michael Cohen of Cohen's Electronics and Appliances, because Michael, my grandfather and I watched that the playoff games on my big screen you sold to me, and I have to say, a magnificent picture. A really great way to watch a game, some of those new TVs you got.
Well, if we could only get Nick Saban to get his people to play the same way as the TV was looking.
I know it bites, because that was a hell of a game. It was a messy game. It was a knockout drag, slobber knocker, as they might say, but daggone.
Well, yeah, nobody left early.
Right. But it's really a good way to enjoy if you love sports or you love movies. And even I've found, Michael, that I bought an 85-inch TV for folks who don't know from Cohen's. it's great as a workstation. If I'm mixing music or putting together some shows, it's great to have a huge screen to put all sorts of windows up on.
Oh, I bet it is. And that way old people like me can actually see and read it.
There you go. Exactly. It's like a teleprompter.
That's right.
So y'all
with less stuttering.
Y'all getting back to the swing of things after the holidays?
Yes, sir. It's been a good day. I guess being closed, we've got a lot of extra people that have been coming in and making extra purchases because they didn't get to yesterday. So yeah, life is good.
Well, I always tell folks to go to thinkcohens.com because they can see all the things you might offer, but nothing is like actually getting there in person, folks, on the boulevard here in Montgomery, 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery. And so whether you're talking about grilling, well, yeah, you can look on the website, but go see those Napoleon products in person. You can talk about all the great, say, audio options, but go see the great wireless. I mean, the future is here when it comes to audio. Go see the TVs in person.
That's
even
right.
The short throw projectors. They got it all there, folks. And y'all open 9 to 6 today?
Yeah, 9 to 6 today, all the way till Friday, and then 9 to 4 on Saturday, and then Monday it'll be the same routine.
Well, and I apologize for the introduction being me pulling my own hair out, but yeah, I thought I was good after having a few days off. Now I listened to one segment of Mean Green Gene, and I'm losing my mind again. I think it's a problem, Michael.
Well, I mean, while I sat here and listened to you, I thought I was listening to Mark Levine. I mean, it's like all the inflections. I mean, you got him down.
I'm not quite as high pitched as Mark can get. Ooh, man, he can.
No. But your inflections, you're on par with him.
I'm working at it. And, you know, the more I do this job, the more they make you a conspiracy theorist. It's just, it's unfortunate, but seems to be in the
But the odd thing about being a conspiracy theorist is after a year or so, they say, well, damn, y'all were right.
Yeah. Do I get a gold star for it? Are y'all going to go jump in a lake now for my entertainment? Anyway, I appreciate your time as always, Michael. Happy New Year, sir.
All right. Happy New Year to y'all, too. Take care.
Yeah, Michael Cohen of Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. When you stop by there on the boulevard, be sure to tell him you heard about him here on News and Views in the afternoon. Let's see who this is on line 3. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, Happy New Year, Joey.
Hey, Chris. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, man. What's going on?
Oh, just powering through the day, and honestly, watching this little bit of Green Gene, I can't take it. Like, how can anybody take these a-holes seriously anymore?
I mean, well, that's what my point is, too. How can you take them seriously when the state of Texas, or the Republic of Texas, I should say, tries to put up barbed wire and stop the flow of people, and then the administration comes back and sues just to tell them to take it down. Same thing in Arizona. Before that election was stolen and we got that twit that's the governor there, they're putting up a border wall, at least trying to, with the containers, and then all of a sudden, you know, this woman gets elected and they start taking it down. I mean, this is I mean, for anybody that's not paying attention, I mean, this is an effort to completely destabilize and change the face of this country. And, you know, and this might sound racist, but it's not. They don't want white people in this country anymore. It is a fight against white people. They don't want them here. They want you neutralized, and they are going to eliminate you one way or the other. And they got the long game. The long game is to import as many third world people in this country as they can, and the Democrat Party will be in control for the rest of our lives.
I think that's a big part of it, and it's been a plan for, say, it's been a couple decade-long plan. But here's my hope, and you're actually seeing some of this occur with Trump's polling numbers. And I think it could happen with, say, somebody like a Ramaswamy or anybody else who takes up that America First mantle, is especially when it comes to young Hispanic men, young men from all around the world. A lot of folks who have experienced the socialism and communism of Latin America, they ain't in any mood to redo that over again in the United States. They're coming to America for a reason, and that's to be free and honestly make some money for the most part. And so if you think all of a sudden we'll buy into this, I get a feeling there's going to be a big pushback, and that's my hope, at least, that this ideology doesn't understand it's creating its own destruction, maybe.
Yeah, well, you're seeing those people that have come here legally and done the right thing, and they're watching their wages completely be destroyed by the cheap labor coming in, and which ultimately is what the globalists want. They want cheap labor. They want these consumers to just be, as George Carlin say, smart enough to flip the switches and dumb enough to keep continuing to vote for Democrats and Republicans too, because this is a pox on both houses. But
Yep.
this is a as they say, this is the fifth gen warfare, and it's in using people as not only to change your population, but also to destroy it economically by sucking money out of every system you got. And if you look at New York, I mean, they're talking about cutting schools, their budget for schools because of this.
Right.
I mean, it's fundamentally going to transform this country if we're not careful. And I'm all for, look, and this might sound harsh, I'm all for rounding people up and getting them out here. I don't understand why we have to process people on the border. What they need to do, and I wish I was president, is put military bases, 3 or 4 of them on the border, and have airplanes. They've retired a bunch of airplanes. As soon as they come in, what country are you from? Oh, I'm from Argentina. Okay, well, we're flying you back. You're not being processed in this country. You have no right to be here in the first place. You're nothing but a criminal that's broken into to this country. So we're going to send you back. And here, by the way, we'll be nice. Well, here's $1,000 cash. Don't come back.
And then I think that criminal, though, could say with a straight face, so I'm not the criminal. I was told by the guy who claimed to own the house that I could come in. You're like, well, the guy who owns the house is corrupt as hell. He's the great. And it's just, it creates a mess of everything where you can't trust any of the institutions. It's what a joke.
Yeah, well, that is truly the problem where we are today. The institutions that we once looked up to, even like the military always had high marks, is starting to crumble in Americans' eyes. They're saying, what is not there that has not been destroyed by the infectious disease that is liberalism or progressivism or whatever ism they want to call it?
Yep.
And we're seeing that. I mean, go from churches to everything else. You're just seeing this. But this year, people have have to wake up. I mean, this is really a turning point for this country. I'm excited about it too. Honestly.
Yeah, no, I'm a little apprehensive, which is both exciting and it's a little ominous, but I guess I like it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, why not? You're Sagittarius. You should.
I don't even know what that means. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Later.
We got our final hour coming up. First show of the new year. I've ranted, I've raved, I've yelled a little bit. We've even played some clips, interviewed the judge. What are we going to do in the last hour? I don't know, but we'll figure it out. More news and views after this. 272-9228 if you want to join the program.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusada, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
This is an SRNU special report. I'm John Scott. Harvard University President Claudine Gay has resigned amid plagiarism accusations and criticism over testimony at a congressional hearing, where she was unable to say unequivocally that calls on campus for the genocide of Jews would violate that school's conduct policy. Gay announced her departure, which came just months into her tenure, in a letter to the Harvard community on Tuesday. She and the presidents of MIT and the University of Pennsylvania came under fire last month for their lawyerly answers to a line of questioning from New York Representative Elise Stefanik. They were asked whether calling for the genocide of Jews would violate the college's code of conduct. This has been an SRNU special report. I'm John Scott.
Do you want more online safety and privacy? I know I do. That's why I started using NordVPN. It guards me against various internet threats. Digital trackers, malicious websites, and malware-infected downloads? Back off. I choose to browse with more confidence. I choose NordVPN.
To avoid digital threats, turn on NordVPN. It's trusted by millions of users. Just visit NordVPN.com. One of the fastest VPNs on Earth will block web trackers, malicious websites, and malware-ridden downloads. It will also encrypt your internet traffic while maintaining a smooth connection. So improve your digital privacy and protection against hackers with one simple click. Get the special deal at NordVPN.com and enjoy safer internet daily. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
The Johnny Adams Law Firm, proud sponsor of the Rich Thomas Weather Network. You can't control the weather, but you can control your drive. Be aware of your surroundings in any weather. Be a defensive driver. Your family and friends will thank you. From the Johnny Adams Law Firm.
Well, hi, everybody. One more dry day today, but get ready for some big changes as the Gulf of Mexico storm system approaches. Today, lots of cool sunshine with a high temperature in the middle 50s. Clouds on the increase tonight, but we're dry, overnight low 32. Tomorrow, a cold rain develops by afternoon. Wednesday's high temperature only in the middle 40s. Sunshine cool, low 50s on Thursday. And another storm system arrives by Friday night into Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
1819 News.
Governor Ivey recently awarded $2.5 million to agencies in 17 counties here in Alabama. The money is to be used to help victims of domestic violence. The Alabama Department of Economic and Community Affairs will distribute that money. ADECA Director Kenneth Boswell says these nonprofit organizations are getting financial help as they aim to heal victims and prevent domestic and sexual violence. Governor Ivey says the agencies are providing a necessary safe haven to break the cycle of violence. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Are you enjoying 1819 News? If so, consider joining 1819 News as a member. As a nonprofit news organization, we depend on the support of Alabamians like you. Memberships start out as little as $5 a month, and you'll get access to exclusive content only offered to our members. You'll be supporting independent journalism done by people who cherish Alabama values. Become a member today by visiting 1819news.com and clicking Become a Member. That's 1819news.com and click Become a Member today.
A recent survey shows that Interstate 65 in Alabama around the Birmingham area is one of America's most hated highways. The survey questioned 3,000 drivers on which routes they hate the most, and I-65 came in at number 6 out of 100. The 101 in California was found to be the number 1 most hated highway, with several other California highways making it into the top 5. Highway 280 in Birmingham also made the list, earning the 73rd spot. However, no other Alabama roads were named in this survey. A community in Huntsville has a brand new playground for its children. The new playground at Sandra Moon Community Complex provides swings, slides, and a rocket ship for kids to play on. That playground was built after Grissom High School had to be closed down and the community lost an area to take their children. The new park is also handicap accessible. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
Don't you love the feeling of coming home to a clean house? Let Southern Bell's cleaning service get your home in order. Families in the River region trust Southern Bell's because they know Callan and Jesse will show up on time and believe in cleaning the old-fashioned way. They bring all their own supplies and specialize in full-service, residential, commercial, vacant properties, and construction cleanup. Estimates are always free. Call Southern Bells today at 546-0715 or follow them on Facebook at Southern Bells Cleaning River Region.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 272-9228. Again, we are now live streaming the show, so if you want to watch us or listen online, Joey Clark Live on YouTube, or always on the X platform at the Joey Clark. Be sure to like and subscribe. Tell your friends, share it far and wide. Let's go to line one and talk to Mr. Pink. Happy New Year, Mr. Pink.
Happy New Year. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Right back at you, sir. What's on your mind today?
Oh, yeah. I don't know, man. I was thinking, man, whenever this Civil War jumps off, I'm thinking, like, you and I'm thinking we're going to not do anything to each other. I'm thinking we're going to look out for each other. If somebody's messing with you, I'm going to be right there for you, and I think you're going to do the same for me.
Amen.
So, I'm going to just leave that at that. Because the Civil War thing, I'm ready to get it over with, man, because I don't think they did it right the first time, you know?
Yeah,
I think they left a lot of things, you know, unresolved. And I think that's why we have problems now, you know? It's like you're cheating on your old lady and then y'all don't talk about it, but it's bubbling up, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, and also, if you're cheating on your old lady, what makes you think your old lady ain't cheating on you? And then it gets worse and worse, and the chasm gets bigger between you, and then you go your separate ways. But all the talk of Civil War, it just doesn't... why? Like, I get how frustrating the world is. Y'all hear me on these radio airwaves, how frustrated I get. But why would I want to go harm somebody who's done nothing to me because of some political ideology?
I don't get that either, man. And I understand, like, everybody is different. You know, we think different. Like Joey, if I can't make you give me something you don't want to give me, right? Like, I can't make you give me your body, right?
Right.
Okay, well, same sentence. Like, I can't get mad that you won't give it to me, right? Like, I hear a lot of that going on. Like, people just need to mind their own damn business. So,
yeah, that would be nice. Just mind your business, look out for you and yours, make friends far and wide as much as you can, and enjoy life. That should be the America I know and love, but apparently now everybody's so responsible for everybody else that nobody's responsible for anything, especially people engage in bad, irresponsible behavior. They're never responsible for their own action.
I would say you was cooking, man. You was cooking earlier, man. Like, nobody wants to take responsibility for their own action, man. That is something true. But you've been cooking, man. You was cooking all last week. You know, when you guys were cooking, man, I just got to let you guys cook. I can't interrupt that.
Well, but I appreciate the interruption today. I've been cooking on my own over here, and sometimes it's just a lonely experience. But it's also, I can't, when I don't watch cable news anymore. So when I play these clips from cable news, like if all the anger and rage, whatever comes out from seeing it, and I'm like, I get why I don't watch this crap anymore.
Yeah, just let it go, man. I'm telling you, man, you'll be much better off. Like, I think it's just something to just get you riled up, man. Like I said, I got you back, man. And I don't think nobody wants white people to not be in America. Like, and you know, in the '90s they could have got real crazy, but black people ain't trying to. You know, white people not trying to kill you, not trying to exterminate you, none of that.
Right.
None of that, man. I love you, man. I'm real. I'm just being honest. Like Duke. Duke loves you, man. Duke. Only reason Duke calls and gives you guys a hard time, he thinks you're like a friend.
Right.
And he don't want you dating the wrong person, you know? Or Donnie, you know? That's all it is, man. That's just
Yeah, but Duke keeps trying to set me up with Moo Moo, and I don't know about that. I just, like, that seems a little much right there. I
don't know. It might be the best thing smoking. You never know, man.
Yeah.
Don't knock it till you try it. No, take that back. Take that back. Never mind.
Yeah, let's say there's certain things. Murder, maybe? Let's try it.
Yeah. Right, no. But, man, thanks for taking my call, man. I just want to let you know, man, you're cooking, man. And, yeah, we need to stop all that crazy talk, man, because we're not together, man. Like, somebody's going to make us all slaves. Come and take this place over.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well said. Very well said. Appreciate you, Mr. Pink.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this?
Papa B.
Hey, Papa B. Happy New Year to you, sir.
Okay. Happy New Year's to y'all. Hope you had a good time over the weekend.
I did. Did you see any football?
No. I purposefully avoided all football, and now I can say it was for a very good reason.
Yeah.
We need some help at all.
Yeah, we do.
It looks like we might be getting some, but just like with Alabama, I mean, if you get to the national championship, you better have that second team ready to roll, because all your starters, it looks like, your star players are going to leave prior to the bowl game.
Right. What the heck is that?
I mean, you want to chance it? You get, you're picking up.
No, I get
dollars.
the self-interest of it and the economics of it. You don't want to get hurt when you can go through the transfer portal, when you go to the NFL early, but it just seems like you're leaving behind your brothers and the team that you built up. Like, doesn't that count for anything anymore?
There is nothing like that anymore. It used to be a long time ago. Long time ago.
Yeah.
Where, you had like an honor type of thing to play. No. You know better than that. This is a minor league right now. These are the minor leagues. So those days are long gone. Let me ask you something about this Epstein list here. I'm wearing these Invisaligners now. I'm trying to straighten out my teeth, my crookedy old teeth. So, do you think we're going to get the list?
We're going to get a big portion of the list that was part of the evidence. It should be coming out. Bill Clinton, of course, identified, but like Clinton, a lot of these names we already knew. People had done the hard work of figuring out who was around Epstein, but there are a few that people are waiting for that have never been unsealed. One, I think, that's going to remain sealed is actually a victim. But there might be some juicy details that start to come out.
I got a feeling that we're going to get a heavily redacted list. And maybe we'll get a fulsome list, but I really don't think so. I think there's a lot of pressure, especially a few names they just don't want to tell. Probably the Department of Justice is really trying to weigh in on it and keep things quiet. I speculate there, I know, but when haven't we seen them try to, weigh in on things like that? So,
well, and it looks like it's going to be 170 people who will be revealed. Like, two anticipated are Clinton and Trump, though there's no indication that Trump or Clinton ever went to the island and the Caribbean. And I say it that way because of the Billy Ocean song, by the way, folks. Caribbean Queen. No, anyway.
Well, no, we do have evidence that Clinton is there. Trump flew on the Lolita Express, but merely to catch a ride back to New York with Jeffrey Epstein and his crew. And he said it was before he realized or he knew anything about all the stuff going on, So we'll see how it all shakes out. There was partial list, that was published, and it'd be names like Will Smith, for instance, or Tom Hanks, some of these characters. So, anyway, I guess we will see, but I'm wondering, they said it was going to be today. Now I'm hearing, in the next several days. So,
right.
Anyway. All right, guys. Well, listen, y'all have a good one. I hope to talk to you soon.
Appreciate you, Poppy. 272-9228. Let's go to line 4. You're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, it's John A. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, John. How you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. Hey, I just wanted to let you know, Trump never told anybody to take the jab.
He didn't?
No, he did not. If you go back and listen to any of his stuff, he said it's there if you want it. He always left it up to your own choice. And I believe that what some other folks have said is that if he wouldn't have developed that, right, wrong, or indifferent, but if he wouldn't have developed it, they would have locked us down. We'd still be locked down right now.
Yeah.
Remember, they told us if we got the jab, oh boy, we could go out and do what we want to do, and we can start being with our family again and everything else. And Anyway, either way you slice it, it's a mess. And he certainly did make some mistakes, too, by not getting rid of Slouchy and a lot of the other folks that were in there.
Yeah, no, I think Trump got, when he did that first address from the Oval Office, when it first broke out, when he shut down travel to Europe and, to and fro, I'm like, oh no, this is bad. And it wasn't anything in particular that he said. It was more the way he carried himself. He didn't look like the same Donald Trump. And it continued to show throughout that pandemic. He was, for all his talents, and he has many of persuasion, he just didn't seem like he could get us through that time. And Operation Warp Speed, I know the guy they modeled that after, a fellow named Arthur Herman of Freedom's Forge. I've interviewed Arthur on the show. Amazing historian. But, developing vaccines is not quite the same thing as, creating a bunch of weapons of war really quickly. And we're seeing the aftermath of those vaccines and those liability protections in particular.
Oh, absolutely right.
But
anyway, just want to throw that out there, and I appreciate your time, Joey. You take care.
Appreciate it, John. And, folks, I was shopping, and I saw a guy goes, "Hey, Joey," and I shook his hand. He goes, "And Larry, I call occasionally, listen all the time. So good seeing you out and about, Larry, as we were doing our grocery shopping, getting all sorts of messages coming in here. In particular, folks talking about Operation Warp Speed. Let me see here. Well, if you want to call, folks, 272-9228. I'm a Vivek Ramaswamy guy, so you DeSantis and Trump people can battle it out. And those three, I'd be happy in a general election to vote for DeSantis, despite some reservations. I'd be happy to vote for Trump, despite some reservations. And I would be eager to vote for Vivek Ramaswamy, despite, well, a few, not that many reservations. 272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by XI Repair, and there at XI Repair, Jonathan Strange has put together an amazing team that can help you with all those repairs, electronics repairs. Now, of course, they specialize in smartphones. So whether you got a cracked screen or water damage, could be you dropped it in the toilet or the hot tub or something. You're trying to get a little grown and sexy in the middle of the winter. Hey, baby, on New Year's Eve, let's hang out in the hot tub, even though it's 30 outside. And then, drip, clunk, dunk. That phone's right there in that hot tub getting hit by all the jets. Like, oh no, it's destroyed. Well, no, actually, XI Repair can fix it. They can also help you if you have a battery that isn't holding a charge. Maybe you charge it all night and it's already in the red a few hours into going about your day. They can also do work on desktop computers, laptop computers, top-end gaming consoles, something like a PlayStation 5. They can do data recovery services. So if you accidentally delete something important to you and yours, well, they can recover that. Or maybe somebody deleted something on purpose, a text or an email, and you're in the middle of litigation. They can recover that data as well there at XI Repair. You can always call them and get an idea on a job at 777-1234. Again, that number for XI Repair, 777-1234. Or you can always go to xirepair.com and start a job online, get an immediate quote. Say you drop your phone at 2 in the morning, just go to xirepair.com and get in the queue immediately. Again, that's XI Repair, great sponsor of the program. And be sure to tell those fine folks there at XI Repair that Joey from News and Views in the afternoon sent you. 272-9228. In fact, speaking of Vivek Ramaswamy, he's out today with a long Twitter screed that I like very much. And I like it very much because he's talking about how, well, miserable the corporate media is. So CNN, what are they going to do? They're going to do this, like, town hall. But Vivek won't be invited. There will be a town hall on CNN on January the 10th. So here's what Vivek writes. He says, forget CNN's fake Iowa debate on January 10th, which will be the most boring in modern history. We're doing a live audience show that night in Des Moines with Tim Pool instead. Won't hold back. But here's the backstory on CNN shenanigans. On December 13th, CNN disgracefully cut short its own Iowa town hall with me, Vivek Ramaswamy, after I correctly pointed out the uncomfortable truths about January 6th, which CNN instantly dismissed as conspiracy theories. On December 14th, CNN then threatened my campaign on the phone with a cease and desist and had YouTube black out the town hall after it got 200,000 plus views on YouTube in a matter of hours. Yet Nikki Haley's CNN town hall was still up after 6 months, 68,000 total views. Sad. Later, on December 14th, CNN notified my campaign that multiple qualifying polls, which the RNC use for each of the RNC debates, mysteriously wouldn't count for CNN's fake debate in Iowa on January 10th. CNN senior media reporter Oliver Darcy wrote a letter that castigated his own network for allowing Vivek to infect the public with his conspiracy campaign. CNN commentator Van Jones said he was literally shaking when he heard Vivek speak and that Vivek's rhetoric is, quote, one step away from Nazi propaganda. CNN anchor Anderson Cooper said, I delivered a soliloquy of conspiracy theories. CNN anchor Pamela Brown and chief investigative correspondent said Vivek has a history of peddling disinformation. CNN anchor Caitlin Codden said, I used a reasonable tone to sell sinister lies to people who aren't paying close attention and might think what he is saying maybe is legitimate. CNN's token conservative commentator Alyssa Farah Griffin said, my rhetoric is damaging to the country. So one thing that's worth revisiting, folks, in the midst of all that, you remember Vivek's clash with Dana Bash right after one of those debates they did? Because it is just amazing to see, well, you can't unsee it once you see it, how corrupt these institutions are. And again, I'm saying it and have been saying it. It's not about Trump. Never was about Trump. It's about you. It's about you if you're a conservative or a libertarian, if you're somebody who always thought of themselves on the left, and that you don't feel like you have a home anymore. It's about those politically homeless who never fit in with any of the particular crowds. Who looked at Rush Limbaugh and looked at Hillary Clinton and went, ew. And then maybe saw a hope and a prayer that we might finally have something different than the fake kayfabe professional wrestling politics of so much of the modern American era. It's about all of you. And a great example, or evidence, if you will, to suggest, well, it's not just about Trump, it's not about him at all, is that Trump can only serve another term. And you better believe, say Trump wins again, you better believe that if somebody else rises, whether it's Vivek or DeSantis or somebody whose name we haven't even mentioned yet, that person will be branded worse than Trump. That person will be branded more dangerous than Trump. Because Trump, I mean, he was bombastic and boisterous and hyperbolic to a fault, and we could kind of, rein him in. But these folks like DeSantis and Ramaswamy, who can go into the specifics of, of law, who can make legal arguments, who actually seem to have a detailed administrative plan to change things in Washington. Well, we can't have that. These people are actually serious adults, and yet they agree with Trump's agenda. But it's not about Trump. It's not about Vivek. It's not about Ron DeSantis. Again, it's about you and your liberties and a way of life that is incredibly rare in human history. The norm in human history is a few enlightened elite. Whether they claim the mantle of God or the mantle of science or history. A few elite manage everybody else. So you have a upper class that runs everything, a ruling class, so to speak. And then you have the underclass. You have the folks that, they need to be patronized. They need support. They need subsidy. So often the games are the upper class competing with one another to buy off the lower class. In America, we had this thing for a while called the middle class. A middle class country. And the middle class, the part that still exists, is marked by a fiercely independent streak. They're often small business owners. They're often folks who just want to make a living and enjoy life. And they want you to leave them alone. They actually, the middle class, the American middle class way at least, they actually might believe that the fruits of their labor are their fruits, not for the community and some elite ruling class member in the name of the community to take up and pass out as spoils to all their, well, folks they have to help out. It might be that we could have a society where everybody's responsible for themselves, where the limiting principle, what governs a society, is a properly formed conscience of individuals, of strong families, reflecting those individual values into one another, strong local communities and churches. Instead, we're getting the opposite. We're getting a one-size-fits-all. Now, it has many faces. You can pick all sorts of bread in circuses. You know how many types of bread are out there to make you fat and happy? You know, many types of circuses are out there to keep you distracted from the quiet moments where you don't know what the hell is going on in this world. And you don't dare think too much because you might start thinking it ain't worth it. There's many things to distract you and many things you can consume. But what they want is top-down control. They want to go to the old pattern of human history, where freedom, liberty for the individual is dangerous. Freedom, liberty for the individual is inconvenient. Is that completely lost, that idea? Hell no. And again, I have hope because it's not about Trump. It's not about Vivek. It's not about Ron DeSantis. It's not about all these buffoons and literal demons on CNN. It's about the average American who wants to be free, make their way in this world, and rise if they rise and fall if they fall, and they don't point a frickin' finger at somebody else on their way up or their way down. I don't think it's fully lost. Because it's not. We have a chance to till the earth again and have a rebirth of American liberty. I firmly believe if you set the American people free, and we'll need champions to do it, whether it's Trump or Ramaswamy or DeSantis or anybody else for that matter. But if you set the American people free, the American people will set things right. But if the American people continue to be convinced that the boot on your neck is just a loving, caressing hand, you know, a motherly hand that wants to teach you that you can live your life without tears because we have your back, then, well, Eddie bar the door, 272-9228. Again, this part of the program brought to you by Dylan Rings. And just to focus on what Josh Ryder can do there. Again, they're closed. They'll be back after the 3rd. So I guess on the 4th, I guess that'll be Thursday. They'll be back there at Dylan Rings at 119 Brown Springs Road. But in the meantime, you can go to DylanRings.com, see that amazing selection that they have and all the services they offer. They're a full-service jewelry shop. But I think the best service there is the custom design work. Josh Ryder, the man, is remarkable at what he does. So maybe you got a little walking around money. Maybe you actually had a really good Christmas. You kind of tightened up and you're ready to hit the new year. Or it could be you've had this idea for like a funky fresh medallion or pendant. Maybe you want to get something tasteful like a cross necklace, or it could be a ring. Could be you inherited some items and you want to combine them or update them. Can do all of that there at Dylan Rings. If you can dream it, Josh Ryder can make it a reality. Seriously, he's built jewelry based on somebody's dream before. So y'all check him out today. Again, 119 Brown Springs Road. Or you can always go to DylanRings.com or just search Dylan Rings on Instagram or the Book of Faces. That's Dylan Rings, great sponsor here of News and Views in the afternoon. Again, 272-9228 if you want to get in on the program. A reminder that we are now live streaming the show, Joey Clark Live on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Just go to Joey Clark Live on YouTube. We're making more short videos, pushing out a lot more content this year. And, well, it's only going to get crazier and crazier, I guarantee you. as we head into 2024. How about this? Let's hit a break. We'll come back, continue on with all the nonsense that's going on in this wild, wild world. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Hi there, I'm Madeline Cannon with Alabama Home Mortgage. Getting pre-approved is the first step towards home ownership. People are often scared or nervous about taking that first step, but I'll tell you, it's nothing to be scared of. At Alabama Home Mortgage, we will take the first step and every step along the way with you. Call us at 567-4223. We will gather the information needed to tell you exactly what you qualify for. After a call to Alabama Home Mortgage, you will know what price point to shop for, what down payment is required, if any, and what your monthly mortgage payment will look like. We take all the guessing out of it. Then, when you find the house you want to make your home, you are ready to make an offer. Along with your offer, you will submit your Alabama Home Mortgage pre-approval letter. This shows sellers that you've already taken the steps necessary to ensure that you qualify to purchase their home. Wait no longer. It's time to take that first step together. Call me at 567-4223 or start the process online at myalabamahomemortgage.com.
That's Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-36-8, Equal Housing Lender.
This is your roving reporter, and today I'm talking with a famous broadcaster.
Hey man, what's happening?
Now, I understand you radio people move a lot, is that correct?
Yeah, sometimes.
Well, how does this affect your taking care of your retirement money?
Oh man, I don't give that a second thought because my buddy David Ernest, he's my money man.
Your money man?
With the money plan.
I see.
So no matter where I go up and down the dial, David has my back, you know?
I'll bet you know some phone numbers our listeners could call to talk with David Ernest.
334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839.
And he has a website at retirewithernest.com.
Hey, you're on top of it today, man.
I also understand that you hold some sort of a record in broadcasting.
Yes. I was the first person to put together a show with myself, a duck, a chicken, and a goose. But it didn't last long. We got taken off the air.
Why were you taken off the air?
Too much foul language, man.
Oh, my.
I wasn't crazy about that one myself.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
The River Region's News Talk Station. News Talk 93.1 WACV. News Talk 93.1.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Now, gonna shift gears here and go to my good friend, Peter St. Onge. He has a new clip out today that I think is just fantastic. This is Peter on the rise of the welfare industrial complex. You might have heard of the military industrial complex. Well, now Peter's on to this welfare industrial complex. Let's listen in together.
Why are GDP and jobs numbers defying slowdown predictions? Easy, because most new jobs are disguised government spending. They don't create anything, of course, but they sure do spend, and they're about to get a lot worse. A few days ago, the Wall Street Journal ran an excellent article on what they call the, quote, welfare industrial complex. They kick off asking what's driving America's job growth, concluding it's, quote, government, social assistance, and associated healthcare. In fact, more than half, 56%, of the 2.8 million net new jobs created last year were precisely that, government, social assistance, and healthcare. In blue states like New York and Illinois, those welfare jobs make up literally more than all the job gains. So 113% in Michigan, same in Illinois, 121% in New York. In other words, their real productive economy is actually shrinking. Without those jobs, from just the last year alone, nationwide, we would be close to 5% unemployment. If you add back the millions of workers who dropped out during COVID, we'd be closer to 8% employment. Now, welfare spending is GDP. To be sure, it will get Paul Krugman popping the bubble. It's economic deconstruction, converting formerly productive people into permanent wars of society. Indeed, if you go into poor areas in many of these states, you'll see literally nothing but welfare services. So nonprofits, Medicaid paid health clinics, government agencies, with a tiny sprinkling of gas stations and takeout with bulletproof glass. So the productive economy is actually shrinking, but the GDP numbers hide it. All pretty dire, but brace yourself because there's a lot more to come, as literally millions of new welfare cases pour in wholesale from what was formerly known as the border. The Journal reports that New York City is currently spending $394 per day on every single migrant. That's the price of a nice Disney vacation. That comes to $144,000 per year per migrant, which is, of course, far more than Americans make with actual jobs. Possibly more, since I can only imagine the games government activists play to hide the money they spend. Add these imported millions to the hundreds of thousands of, quote, drug-addled and mentally ill homeless living on the street. That is a quote from the Journal. And you've got the makings for some very impressive consumer spending. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. Those nosebleed trillions are just the start, since decades of experience has shown that the more government spends on welfare, the more people go on welfare. In Joe Biden's first stimulus bill, for example, they poured out nearly $43 billion in subsidies to end homelessness as we know it. So what happened? The homeless population shot up by 85,000. While homeless don't cost as much as migrants, they're just 86,000 a year, again, per person, which is also a very respectable salary anywhere in America. And again, that's taking the activists who run government welfare at their word. As the Journal notes, quote, progressive government doesn't do anything on the cheap. Indeed, they note Los Angeles is currently spending $837,000 per unit to build housing for the homeless. So at $144 a year per migrant and $86 per ruined life, times millions, you get the makings of some fantastic consumer spending numbers, even as the economy and the Treasury are gutted. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.
Thank you again, folks. That's Peter St. Onge. Follow him on the Twitter, Prof. St. Onge, O-N-G-E. Often see Peter on Fox Business. Good dude. I remember many an evening talking with him over when he was still living in Auburn, Alabama, but always insightful and breaks a little bit from, say, the conventional wisdom that surrounds the government. Now, I'm getting somebody writing me saying, oh, it's all about Trump. The powers that he would have to have him as the nominee. The powers that be have to have him as the nominee. He is beatable. Can't have anyone else, so they are slowly eliminating the rest except for Haley. Trump will beat her in the primary and go on to be the nominee. He will lose to Biden again. There's a lot at stake for liberals, and they don't leave things a chance. We don't have a vote unless you want to vote for the one who they are pushing. Trump. Well, I'm voting for Vivek. But that's one person's take, Cindy. Appreciate the message, and I'll keep reading those messages, Cindy. But the fight should be interesting in Iowa here. I don't see anything, though, that is going to knock Trump off, because you can mention all sorts of negatives, I suppose, and yet he keeps winning. So we shall see how all that goes. For this break, though, news out of Georgetown University. It's actually a Georgetown University professor who spent 12 years as a CIA intelligence analyst is warning that diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts and the overall politicization of the intelligence community have become a quote-unquote significant problem, and that he is confident those agencies will attempt to interfere in the 2024 election similar to their efforts in 2020. So you're not just running against the incumbent president, you're running against the incumbent intelligence agencies and top law enforcement and all this entire apparatus. You know, it's fascinating, folks. how the science keeps saying, give the government more power and authority over your life. Science has shown that liberty's a joke, a dangerous joke. Science has shown it. But here is what Dr. John Gentry had to say. He has a new book called Neutering the CIA, Why U.S. Intelligence versus Trump Has Long-Term Consequences. He says, quote, my guess is that the proverbial deep state within the intelligence community will reemerge because presumably a Republican candidate will again be seen as a threat to the internal policies that many intelligence people like. Within days of the bombshell New York Post story that detailed the contents of Hunter Biden's laptop in the lead up to the 2020 election, 51 former intelligence officials signed on to a letter in an attempt to discredit the laptop, saying it has all the classic earmarks of a Russian disinformation operation. The CIA approved the publication of the infamous Hunter Biden laptop letter, according to documents obtained by Fox News Digital in 2023. Now, this Professor Gentry, told Fox News Digital that downplaying the Hunter Biden laptop was clearly political, and that a highly placed source told him, quote, in no uncertain terms, that it was done explicitly with the intent to help the Biden campaign. Gentry said there have already been signs in recent weeks that current or former intelligence agency members will be active in 2024. I long have thought we are likely to again see former intelligence officers be politically active against Trump or whomever the Republican presidential candidate is next year, and I expect leaking to resume. The activities of formers have resumed already, a bit before I expected. Gentry pointed to a recent article from Mark Palmeropoulos. What a weird name. Palmeropoulos, a CIA official who retired in 2019 and was the co-lead of the Hunter Biden laptop open letter, and former FBI employee Asha Rengappa, that warned of the dangers of Trump's rhetoric on the campaign trail. Asha once worked at the FBI and also was openly anti-Trump. Though as a relatively junior former, she attracted less attention than many, Gentry said. I think it's worth closely monitoring these people. Many have compromised their credibility by actions such as the Laptop 51 letter. Yeah, but not in the eyes of the right people, sir. It's amazing that what we're seeing in this country, banana republic indeed. What do we do about it? Well, it's not exactly clear, unfortunately. 272-9228. It's 272-9228. How about this? Let's hit a break here, folks. More news and views in the afternoon after this.
Joey Clark.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson with the Goodson Group with the updated market report. Over the past 11 and a half months, over 4,100 homes have sold and closed in our MLS system with an average price of $245,000. Houses are selling at listed price throughout the river region, and over 35% are selling in the first 30 days on the market. Rising interest rates tend to keep some people from buying, but it didn't stop over 4,100 families from buying this year. There's a cost to waiting and expecting rates to fall, and that cost is appreciation, which has been rising nearly every month for the last 2 years. So the house that you delay buying this year could cost you $35,000 more next year, even if the rate falls. One alternative is to buy now, refinance when rates improve, and that way you are not paying more for the house that you really wanted. For the facts, call Bo Goodson with the Goodson Group at 221-2883 or 551-0225.
Make 2024 the year you break away from the chain stores and join us here at Adams Drugs. We value your business and want to provide you the best customer service at the lowest possible price. We've been serving up excellent customer service here in the River region for over 62 years.
I made the swap to Adams Drugs and I couldn't be happier. Having their job and then getting 3 kids to all of their activities keeps me busy. I don't have an hour to waste waiting on a prescription. At Adams, they know me and my family. I get in and out in minutes, and when I can't get by Adams, they'll bring the prescription right to my door.
What are you waiting for? Come in to Adams Drugs and let us earn your business. Our friendly and personal staff will talk with you and answer any questions you may have about your prescriptions. Your satisfaction is our #1 goal. Visit us at adamsdrugs.net for the location nearest to you. Adams Drugs is your local independent Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
Mike Costanza with Chappie's Deli.
And Jeff Marenko with Chappie's Deli.
One of the reasons Chappie's Deli has been around for over 32 years is Blue Water Broadcasting.
Yes, it is, and we have the perfect faces for radio.
We sure do. And if you have a perfect face for radio, call Blue Water.
Radio works. It's as simple as that. Call us to find out how radio can work for your business. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Riverside Chevrolet Wetumpka. If it's Chevy, it's Riverside. Best price, best selection. Check them out on the web at riversideusa.net.
Hi, everybody. Get ready for some significant weather changes as the storm system approaches. Tonight we're dry with the overnight low temperature down to about 33. Clouds on the increase. Wednesday, tomorrow, a cold day with a cold rain developing by afternoon with a high temperature only in the middle 40s. The risk of rain continues on Wednesday night, but back to dry weather Thursday with temperatures in the low 50s and sunshine. Another storm system arrives Friday night into Saturday with showers and thunderstorms. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
John Bobo with Capital Tractor. Looking for a tractor, excavator, mower, ag implements, or other equipment? Capital Tractor is as close as your smartphone or computer. Find the best deals, financing information, and browse new and used inventory with just a click at capitaltractor.com.
Live local talk. The River Region's only 24-hour News Talk FM station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark. 272-9228 if you want to get in before we close up shop. Yes, Eddie should be back tomorrow. He just needed the day here for a second. But now, before we hit our final break, we go to Ray Bowles. I want to read something real quick. And I think it shouldn't take too long here, but this is from a fellow named Walter Block. I think he's still a professor, economics professor at Loyola University, but he's a well-known libertarian writer and researcher and scholar. And here's a short essay penned by Walter Block called The Incredibly Costly Path to Attaining Equality. Walter Block writes, "It is now the year 2525. Equality has finally been obtained. Yes, it took quite a while to attain this goal. Why? This is because as we approached it, as we became closer and closer to this ideal, as people became more and more identical, there were fewer and fewer people of genius to do the heavy lifting. And those few who still remained were not at all as smart as the top of the IQ, 1,000 pardons more mentioning this concept, IQ distribution used to be earlier in the day. We thus approached intellectual equity asymptomatically. Not all at once, as, say, the cure for polio was obtained. But let us not complain about the path to egalitarianism. Let us instead exult in the fact that we now have finally obtained this glorious state of affairs. There are no more mental institutions, since no one is as stupid or mentally troubled as to deserve placement therein. True, there are no more Mozarts or Bachs either. Hey, if you're going to cut off one tail of the distribution to attain equality, you have to delete the other tail, too. He's talking about the bell curve here, folks. Otherwise, the human race will either improve mentally or atrophy, which was no part of our equality goal. Similarly, there are no more jails, no homeless people, and for the same reason, the average person never fit into either category either in the bad old days of inequality. On the other hand, there are no more Einsteins, Yo-Yo Ma's, Usain Bolts. They really ought to give that guy a speeding ticket, or others of that ilk who have risen head and shoulders over everyone else in their respective specializations. Nor are there any more beautiful people. We all look pretty average. Does this mean that we are all exactly as good as everyone else in all fields of endeavor? No. It only implies that, ceteris paribus, all things being equal, we all have the same exact potential to be cellist of the same rank, cellist, of the same rank as each other. But no one will ever attain the ability of Yo-Yo Ma. We all have the potential to do 20 seconds for the 100-meter dash, but none of us will ever do 9.35 seconds, like Usain Bolt. However, these are only potentials. If person A spends his time practicing as a chef and person B devotes equal time to computers, then each will be better, more efficient than the other in his own calling. So we can still benefit to at least a small degree from specialization in the division of labor. However, henceforth, mankind will not be able to make the splendid strides in science, technology, medicine, etc. that it did under bad old inequality. What about the income and wealth distribution? Will it be zero? Not at all. Yes, it will be severely truncated, but will still exist. Luck can still play a part. Not everyone can win the lottery. Computer nerds and lawyers will still earn more than those who push a broom or ask if you want fries with that. But the divergence cannot be too extreme, for remember, those following the latter occupations have the same potential in the former ones as do their present occupants. If the gap becomes too large, the latter workers will enter the realms of the former. Shall we be happier with this new state of egalitarian affairs? Decisive new breakthroughs in medicine, rocketry, psychology, economics will be a thing of the past in our brave new world. We will probably never cure cancer, nor rejoice in human occupation of the moon or Mars. Space travel? No way, Jose. Life expectancy will remain as it is, if it does not fall back a bit. Living to 200 in our 20-year-old bodies, it will never happen. Living forever? Forget about it. There is yet another fly in the ointment, an unintended consequence. Average intelligence has decreased, not only its standard deviation. Why has this come to pass? With the variance of intelligence having fallen to zero, no one knows any more than anyone else. No one is in as much of a position to teach anything to anyone else. Hence the collapse of the average intellectual ability. Little mind teaser there by Professor Block. But I think he's right. The drive for equality in all things will destroy not only liberty, but innovation. If you get rid of difference and inequality, you're kind of getting rid of humanity. I'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Mosquito season is here. Call Pest Pro Services now to fight the bite. Did you know that a mosquito can go from an egg to an adult in 8 to 10 days? Let's take back your yard. I said, let's take back your yard. For more information, go to ppsriverregion.com or call Pest Pro Services today. 265-9990. That's 265-9990. When you want to know, call a pro. Pest Pro Services.
On FM, on your smartphone, and online, the River Region's most trusted voice, News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back, folks. The news and views in the afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Let's go to line 1 and talk to Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
We are doing good. Can you believe the holidays are behind us?
No. I can't.
And after that ball game, I'm sure there's a lot of people that have thrown stuff on the floor.
Wait. I got a little preoccupied this weekend. What happened?
I think there was some football, and it didn't go the way that everybody wanted it to go. Unless you live up north.
Oh,
and now we get to watch the national title game without an SEC team in it. Yeah.
Wait, Alabama lost?
Apparently they lost. Yeah. Yeah, but Angie's in the truck with me, so I got to behave because she's an Alabama fan, and I got a 3-hour ride ahead of me, so maybe I'm sorry. It was a good game. It was so close. And there again, if you do stuff on the ground and it's against the wall, and now all of a sudden your wife's not happy with you, and you need new floors quickly, we can take care of it. It's a phone call, 285-8117. Next thing you know, you got a new floor down. Just that quick.
Just that simple, folks. Again, that number for Prattville Carpet, 285-8117. And when you call 285-8117, be sure to tell them you heard Ray Bowles here on the radio with Joey.
Hey, and one upside to the whole bowls being over and the football being over, rut season's coming in, guys. So you know what? It's a blessing in disguise. Now you can hit the wood.
There you go. Well, I appreciate it, Ray. Safe travels. We'll talk again tomorrow.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Again, that's Ray Bowles of Prattville Carpet. Y'all be sure to tell him you heard about him here on News and Views in the afternoon. Well, I'm pretty much out of time here. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. Y'all stay tuned because Happy Hour with Greg Budell. He's next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WHAS